Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, Papa Pacelli.
Yes, very geeky and very geezerly.
I don't know. I'm in a mood today, and we'll get to that later on in the evening.
Yeah, we both are, I think.
But
that's why people tune in, I think, to hear the two grumpy old men bitch about
This
stuff.
has not been a good week for geek culture.
No, it has not.
I had one good thing, which
it has not been a good week for culture in general.
It's not been a good week for the world in general, but yeah, lots of things, okay? But I want to say hi to the chat. Oh, by the way, what you sipping on, Troy?
I am having a lemonade. I, without getting too much into it, went to the doctor the other day, got a little bit of scolding about how much caffeine and alcohol I've been having, and I ain't giving up alcohol, so I'm having a lot less caffeine and drinking more water.
Lemonades are nice. Do you like root beer? If you want to, just don't get Barks root beer. The other root beers are usually no caffeine.
Hadn't thought about that. That's not a bad idea.
Like if you get A&W, you get Mug. Check the labels, but I don't believe they have caffeine in them. You know, lots of fruit punches. You can start drinking my fruity drinks like me. Of course, I do have a tea, so I guess that has caffeine in it. I have a Arizona.
It's been my experience though with the iced teas. They tend to have very, very little caffeine. I'm not too concerned about that.
Okay.
But I've been drinking a lot of energy drinks, so it's probably time to cut back a bit.
Iced tea with lemon flavor, Arizona. Okay, Arizona.
That's what you're having?
Yes, Arizona iced tea. Yes.
That actually sounds very good.
I like Arizona iced tea. I remember when I was staying with my aunt up in New Jersey about probably over 20 years ago, and I was because I was interning in New York City, and I was having to traverse the roads in my hometown, which I hadn't been to for a few years. Okay, because I went back up there for the internship, and I kind of couldn't make it to the grocery store because that's how crazy the roads are up there and cars go all places. Okay, so I just drove into a Bradley's lot and I'm like, I just want some soda. Okay, just some soda. Okay, bring back to the house. Okay, I go into Bradley's. There ain't no soda. Yeah. You know what Bradley's is? Do they have those in Chicago area?
I don't think
or
so.
Did they? Okay, I used to think they were a big deal when I was a kid. When I went back there, it's like Kmart but not as glamorous.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Not an impressive store. And I went and looked around, couldn't find any soda, but then I found a 24-pack glass bottles of Arizona iced tea lemon flavor. And I'm like, you know what? Good enough. I'm getting this. Okay, and I brought it back. But
sounds good.
What part of New Jersey? Rahway. I believe that's in Union County. Actually considered part of the New York metropolitan area, actually. So technically it's in Jersey, but they consider it part of the New York City metropolitan area. Okay, so let me say hi to the chat. Let's see who's here.
Chat.
Hello to the chat, yes. Can I even go up? I can't figure this out. It's not letting me go up. I got to see everybody. Okay. StreamYard, welcome to the chat. Oh, wait, that's just what's on top. Okay. Otter Dread, welcome. Big Al, have a great show. Geezers, thank you. Netters Network, as always. Got a hi, sweetie. That's nice. Hello, love of my life, Detroit Pacelli. That's nice. Okay. Auditor Dread, Horizon Talker. Hello, the chat. Melissa Harrison Sons. Yeah, you were the inspiration for one of the headlines in the stream. Netflix ruins Cowboy Bebop. Okay, because I was like, I want to say, okay, Cowboy Bebop actress scolds fans, attacks, and I'm like, you know something. That's too many words for this headline. I need something snappy. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just call it as I see it. And that's how I see it. But we'll get to that later. Zootopia, good to see you. Okay. I guess that's everybody. Anybody else that comes in, we'll see. So anyway, how you doing this week? Energy drinks, right? So, okay.
Yeah, no I'm going to take it a little bit easy on that. But
you could try 5-hour energy instead.
I used to.
That stuff is the devil. Oh, yeah. That was me in grad school with the.
Actually, got into that before I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. It was really bad. So wow. I was doing anything I could. I was starting to think, maybe a little nose candy might be in order. But yeah, they got me hooked up, and then I lost a lot of weight. So I'm doing a lot better in that regard. So I don't really need the caffeine like I used to.
Good. I have to tell you, 5-hour energy. Yeah, just stay away from it, kids. I know you may have that all-nighter to pull. You got that paper due that you didn't work on enough in advance, but no, 5-hour energy, it's the devil, okay?
It absolutely is.
You will pay for it later, okay? Anyways, so let's see. Yeah, I know. Well, we'll talk a bit about Cowboy Bebop later. I might go on a rant, but
Let's talk about something happy first.
why don't we talk about? Why don't we just talk? We'll start off even with the good old days. Huh?
Let's talk a little bit about pure imagination.
Oh,
Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
I have to say, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I was watching it again today, and I have to say, if I can think of any movie other than Star Wars that got regular play when I was like 4 or 5 years old,
Yep.
it was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That thing was in my VCR a lot. I was a kid when I saw that. That was like my childhood movie. Like different generations have their childhood movies, and for some reason, it's Willy Wonka for me.
Yeah.
Because the Disney Vault was closed at that point. You couldn't get Disney movies.
Right.
And it's weird because it came out in 1972, so I was a bit older. It was like 10 years later when I'm watching this thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it's a fascinating movie. And talk about a movie that, in my opinion, hinges on its actors, especially the main draw, which was Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka.
He really made that film, no doubt about that.
I mean, the other actors are great too, don't get me wrong, but he utterly fascinating, and you don't even see him for like the first half hour, 40 minutes.
Right.
When does
even as they keep talking about Willy Wonka this, Willy Wonka that, Wonka, you never even see what he looks like, and that's very deliberate. The first scene you see, all this mystery, nobody's seen him, nobody ever goes in, nobody ever comes out, and these kids and one guardian are gonna get to go in and take a tour and get to meet Mr. Willy Wonka, who hasn't been seen in years. And when he comes out, it's not what anyone expects. He's a man walking with a cane, and he's hobbling along very, very slowly. And the audience just goes silent. They're like, oh, and the kids don't know what to make of this. And he crosses halfway to them. And just as he's getting up to just, close enough to be seen, he reaches down and his cane isn't there anymore. It's stuck into the ground.
Yes.
And he falls forward into a somersault up, and everyone starts cheering.
And he's all spry. And
you will see that scene on many a list of scenes where the actors weren't in on the gag, so the reaction was natural. The kids had no idea he was going to be doing that. In fact, nobody that was there in that audience within the film knew he was going to do this.
It makes me wonder.
They were all like, what, and they're looking, they like want to look back at the script. Was this, so they're just, play it out. He got his direction. And so their reaction was absolutely genuine.
I wonder if Gene Wilder had clown training or something, because that was brilliant. That move right there in the movie. Right? Yeah. And that's something like how it's almost like how some of the actors who play Doctor Who, like some of them you could tell probably had clown training, like I bet Patrick Troughton did,
Exactly.
And it's brilliant. But even for the first like 40 minutes, you're a kid watching this movie, and I am enraptured from the opening credits because you're seeing all the. I'd like to think, I don't know, not everybody loves chocolate, but a lot of people do. You're a kid, you like chocolate, okay? And you're saying, this is how the chocolate is made. You're watching the intro credits, and you're seeing it all, and you're like, well, what is going on here? It's like flowing and like...
Not only that, all the scenes, even before you ever get to the factory, all the scenes, the kids eating chocolate, opening chocolate wrappers to get at looking for the golden ticket. Charlie eating the chocolate, like just shoving it into his mouth. And honestly, don't you get the distinct feeling that it's not just because he loves chocolate? The kid's freaking starving. I mean, that's what you really think about that character.
He's a poor kid. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, oh man, that was, but for all of that, what a marketing failure by the Quaker Oats Company. This movie was done by the Quaker Oats Company specifically because they weren't a candy company at all, but they were going to put out a Wonka chocolate bar and start their own line of candies. And they must not have gotten a good chocolatier or whatever, but what few of those bars actually made it to stores were not tempered right. They melted very easily.
Oh, no.
They were just a mess, and nobody liked them. So that was a marketing failure. It wasn't until many, many years later that we started to get actual Wonka bars on store shelves, and it was put out by
Nestle.
Yeah, I was going to say the Nestle company, and they did it in their subline that does like Nerds and whatnot.
Yeah. And and they also had other things because they had other Willy Wonka candies, but this was the chocolate bar. It had graham crackers in, I believe. And it wasn't so many years later, and they used to have a cartoon Wonka on the bars too. It wasn't like the Gene Wilder one, which was
right.
fun.
So it was very clear that they were acknowledging the character of Willy Wonka, not any specific film.
But it's
version.
fine. It's fine. I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, me too.
I was a big fan of those little gobstoppers growing up. That was like my favorite.
Right.
We come back from church, and if I was good in church, you could get a candy bar or a candy.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if they even called them everlasting gobstoppers on the box, but
they did not. They just called them gobstoppers.
They would last.
They weren't everlasting.
But they would last a little while, though.
I mean, they were jawbreakers, is what they were.
Over the years, they made them easier to bite into. I know they did, and
I think over the years you just got stronger jaw muscles.
It's possible. Hey, maybe that's why I have such good teeth. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, but I have to tell you though, I love that movie. The movie starts out and it's like, all the kid, it's like you get introduced to Charlie, and like he has all four grandparents bedridden. His mom has to do laundry. They're eating cabbage water. He gets a part-time job after school because he wants to buy the family some bread. Okay,
right.
and his teacher that doesn't look like he's very good at his job, and he's very condescending to the
students. I love that story because he comes home. What are we having for dinner? Well, cabbage water. Oh, cabbage water again? That's not enough. And everyone's looking at him like, Charlie, we got to be thankful what we have. He goes, no, that's not good enough. I say we have this. And he pulls out this loaf of bread. And I mean, you could see the gears turning in Mom's head. Like, did you steal that? Where did you get this bread from? Because I bought it. Yeah, I got paid today and I had a little bit extra. And I'm going to start paying for Grandpa Joe's tobacco. And he looks at him and goes, Charlie, I'm giving up tobacco. He goes, no, you can't do that. Yeah, because when a loaf of bread looks like a feast, I have no business buying tobacco. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is good. I mean, I was like 10 years old when I saw this movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was impactful.
This is a good family. I love Grandpa Joe too.
Yeah,
okay. I'm glad that Charlie has him in his life, and it's just, I mean, all family's good, but and of course, it's all. Then of course, the thing gets announced that Willy Wonka, he's going to offer 5 golden tickets, and then there's like the frenzy. And think about what happens later on. I don't know if they had anything like this even at the time when the movie came out, but how like there are these toys that people become obsessed with. They're trying to buy it, and all these.
Sure, you like the Cabbage Patch dolls and all stuff like that.
So that's what this is reminding me of when I'm watching it now, and it's like everyone's going nuts. And then you see the kids getting them, and you have Augustus Gloop, the German kid, who's. I guess kind of portly for the time, probably wouldn't be so portly by modern standards, but anyway. And then there's and then you have Mike TV from America and Violet Beauregard. She's the gum chewer. Yep. And they're all kind of bratty, but they're
my favorite, Veruca Salt.
Oh man, she's a trip to watch. That actress, I love that actress. I want it now.
I want it now.
And she I think she has one of the best songs in the movie when she
don't care how I want it now.
And it's all about
I love when because each one of the kids ends up in a bad circumstance that takes them out of the thing, and then the parent has to go after them, whatever. She goes down the chute and her father goes running after her, and it's all silent, and Grandpa Joe says, well, at least Mr. Salt got what he wanted. What's that, Grandpa Joe? Veruca went first. Oh, I love that movie. It is without a doubt one of my absolute favorite movies.
There is dialogue in there that is not meant for kids, even though I watched it when I was a tiny child. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There is so much winking at the audience. Gene Wilder's almost taking on. He's like saying your thought as an adult audience member. Like he's saying stuff like, "The suspense is killing me. I hope it lasts." There's a horrifying thing when they go through that tunnel, and you see all the horrible thing, like the lizards eating things and all this. And I, even as a kid, I found that freaky. That's when all great children's movies have this like kind of spooky element to them, and Willy Wonka is no different. Like Willy Wonka, you wonder while watching this, is he on the up and up, or is there like a sinister side to all of this, you know? But at the same time, all these people are like, they're all, it's almost like he's tempting everybody, you know what I mean?
Well, it's funny you say that, because there is one fan theory that each one of the kids represents one of the deadly sins.
Sure.
And that he is like taking them, like Charlie is Dante going through the Inferno.
But I am going to say this. One thing I think the movie does well is that Charlie's not perfect.
No.
He does drink the fizzy lifting drinks with his grandpa Joe. He says, okay, yeah, let's do it. They're not watching. So he's not a perfect angel saint. That, I think, would make him less interesting to me. But in the movie, he takes the fizzy lifting drinks, and they figure out a way out of it by burping.
A little bit spurred on by his grandfather, who's a bit of a trouble.
A little bit, but he didn't resist at all. He says, oh, I don't know, Grandpa, maybe you should. No, he's all for it, too.
But what's really interesting is, had there not been any other obvious consequences, which is what the whole end of the movie hinges on, there's still they find themselves in a deadly circumstance.
Oh yeah.
And they end up surviving it, and they actually think they got away with it. So like, oh well, lesson learned, we almost died, we'll never do something dumb like that again, right?
Exactly.
So even if they'd never touch that again, you know, you can't say that you know, you saw them do something and not get comeuppance. But then at the end, you know, when he's like, oh, sorry, you lose because you stole.
He's nasty. He's saying it's all written in here, and Gene Wilder. I don't know. I'm telling you,
that was another one where the kid playing Charlie had no idea. He knew what the lines were, but he had no idea that Gene Wilder was going to play it that way, and he was really scared.
Well, think how good he had to be too, though, just to maintain his composure in that scene too.
Yeah.
And you know, and Gene Wilder's just going on, and he's saying, you know, basically, and of course, as we see in the film, Mr. Slugworth comes up to each of the kids, and he's like,
right.
I'll give your family food and comfort for the rest of their lives. You'll be set.
All you got to do is bring
give me one everlasting gobstopper, okay? And basically, Willy Wonka just chews Charlie out.
Yeah,
and you know, he doesn't get the lifetime supply of chocolate. You violate the technicality, and then Grandpa Joe's like, well,
come on, if Slugworth wants a gobstopper, we'll give him a gobstopper.
And then
the look that Charlie gives him, like. He pulls back from his grandfather like, I can't believe you just said that. That's not right. He doesn't say that, but in his face, that's what you see.
Yeah, he's like, maybe I did something wrong, but I'm still honest. And he gets, Mr. Wonka, and he gives him the gobstopper back. And then, of course, Willy Wonka says, this is a test, and, you won, and you're going to get the whole factory. And it has a great happy ending. And I remember Roald Dahl, I think he wrote the screenplay as addition to it, but I think he wrote the screenplay for the movie, and he was struggling with that last line. But yeah.
What you missed, oh, God, I get goosebumps when I think about it. Mm-hmm. Charlie goes, and he just says, Mr. Wonka, and he puts down the gobstopper on the desk.
Yeah.
And Wonka reaches over, and he quotes The Merchant of Venice.
Oh, right.
So shines a good deed in a weary world. There are a lot of great quotes in this movie that were not in the original book that are just beautiful.
Yeah. I give full credit to the actors, the direction, the songs. I mean, think about, I don't know if this has ever been made into a Broadway musical, but I think you could turn this into a Broadway musical.
If it hasn't been, they're really missing out because,
I think the songs could be expanded upon.
Almost already a musical. Absolutely,
because there are musical numbers in it. They're just very short. And the Oompa Loompas with their little lessons for the kids. And you're listening to them and you're thinking, this is just common sense. This might be something Jordan Peterson might say now.
Right. Exactly right. No, it's so true. But you were talking about some fairly adult jokes. There was one where they were in the laboratory room just before the gum incident, and Mr. Salt says to him, Wonka, ginger beer, butter rum.
Yeah.
And he looks at him and he goes, candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. And that's not only a quote, that is a full poem called on breaking the ice. It's literally a poem about getting your date schnockered to smooth things over.
Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah, I now I understand the meaning of that line. Okay. Oh, I didn't even understand that. I always loved that line because you're a kid. You hear these things and you're like, oh. And it's just a brilliant movie. Like when Willy Wonka goes, "Oh, please stop! Don't do it!" Like he's saying to the kid, like,
"No, stop, please!"
He's so terrible, and he's so terrible. But at the same time, you're sort of nodding your head because the kids are brats, especially Baruch.
Yeah. Throughout the whole thing, you're going, "Yeah, these kids are really getting what they deserve." Now, as an adult, you look and you go, "Oh my God, they're going to die."
I know.
Well, you definitely that was kind of left.
Oh.
This was Roald Dahl. He wrote some pretty dark stories for kids, but this movie kind of puts a more positive spin on it because at the very end, Charlie actually asks what every kid in the audience is thinking. What about all those other kids? They're going to be fine. They're, a little wiser for the wear. But it basically what he's saying is everything I said was to scare them. There's nothing that actually happened to, they'll all be fine. In the original book, like Mike TV gets shrunk down and then he talks about how they're going to take him to the taffy pulling room. And
that's in the movie too. Yeah,
and in the book though, there's actually an illustration when he comes out and he's all stretched out like Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, that's
and he's
funny.
all boingy and it's like, oh God, yikes.
Oh, that could be a weird team of supervillains. All the kids that
survived Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, right?
Oh, anyway, but what did I want to say though? I did want to make a point though that I think the director. Do you remember? I don't know if you ever watched Joe Bob Briggs on TNT. He used to have a show called Monster Vision, but they used to do horror movies. But they did Willy Wonka one night, and he was fine doing it because he got the director, I think, on with him, and the director made a point that. Parents think, "Oh, this is so terrible. What's happening to these kids?" But they make a point that the kids in the audience perfectly understood the morality of what was going on. Okay,
yeah, they did.
In some ways, the kids understood it better. These kids were acting up bad, and they kind of got what was coming to them. And they're not going to die or anything, but they learned a lesson. Okay,
well, and that's just it. It's like when you jump up there on that device and you go through it, and where does that lead? Well, it leads to an incinerator. Oh my God, she's going to be incinerated, and it's very, he even right then he goes, well, but I think that particular incinerator is only on every other day. So she's got a good sporting chance, right?
Oh, you could tell.
But then you get at the end very clearly, he knew. It's like there's a fan theory that every one of those kids that got the golden tickets, it was specifically engineered to get those tickets to those
I wonder,
kids.
Especially with Charlie getting it the day before.
Especially with Charlie, who only opened up 3. Total of 3. He said 2 because Mr. Turpentine, as is trying to do the percentages. Okay, so 200. No, not 200, just 2.
2. And, that teacher. And this is a very... I want to say this feels like a very British movie. I mean, there are American actors in it as well, but this feels like a very British movie.
The guy that played Turpentine was the same guy that played the wizard in Krull.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, he and it has that 60s, 70s like British film feel to it, and it's
well, yeah, he's got one of my favorite lines in the movie. When he closes the book to start the class, and he goes, "I've decided that our Friday schedule will now be moved to Monday,
which means you'll have your quiz on
material,
Monday.
the material so that the test we usually take on Friday on the material you've learned during the week will now be taken on Monday before we've learned it. Yes. But since today is Tuesday, it doesn't matter in the slightest."
This
I'm like,
well.
And you're sitting there thinking it through, going, the hell did he just say? And I swear I must have seen it like 10 times before I understood what he was saying.
You're thinking this through, and there are teachers out there that probably did do this. Okay,
right?
Oh, it's just a nice.
And he does it so dry, and he just continues on. I'm like, oh, this is just brilliant, And
I love the Candyman song in the beginning, and just there's so much to say about this movie. This movie is perfect, and I love when all the adults are looking for the tickets, and you have the computer, right? You know, the computer, and the guy types in, the computer will tell me where the last 3 remaining golden tickets are. And the computer
I will not tell you. That would be cheating.
Yes, I know.
I am now telling the computer that if it will tell me where the last remaining golden ticket is, I will gladly share the lifetime supply of chocolate with them. Yep. What would I do with a lifetime supply of chocolate? I am now telling the computer exactly what it can do with a lifetime supply of chocolate.
And the adults in the audience know it might go over the kids' heads.
Exactly.
It's funny. It's a perfect movie. It is my childhood children's movie. It's one of the top.
Or the cop talking to the wife whose husband's been kidnapped.
Yes.
And they want her case of Wonka bars. You know, what do they want? Anything they want, I'll give it to them. They want your case of Wonka bars. How long will they give me to think it over?
It's like a scene out of a television drama in the United States, okay? Like some crime drama. And then like suddenly, it's about the Wonka bars. I'm like, what am I watching here? It's
hysterical.
Brilliant. It's
a
brilliant movie. Charlie at the beginning, that weird guy comes with all the butcher knives on the cart and says, he gives the poem, and I'm like, and you're thinking as a kid, sometimes you have weird adults come up to you and say weird things, and you don't know what's going on. And it's like, oh boy, though. But no, Willy Wonka classic. Gene Wilder, brilliant actor. Someone had a comment here. Horizon Talker says a lot of those classic Hollywood actors had stage training and had to do stunts and pratfalls on stage. Modern movie actors don't have the same physical chops. I don't think so. You know, when I think of some of the great physical comedians, remember John Ritter on Three's Company? Great physical comedian.
Yeah, he was a genius with that.
I do miss the old days. The boat tunnel sequence is still nightmare. It's still creepy. It really is. If you watch it, I'm sure they got clips on YouTube. Check it out.
I had to look it up because I couldn't remember the exact quote, but the tinker that tells that quote about no one ever goes in, no one ever comes out. That's The Fairies by William Allingham. What is it? Up the airy mountain, down the
rushing bend.
Glen.
Something
we daren't go hunting for fear of little men.
Yes.
Yep. And of course, in the context of the film, he's making reference to the Oompa Loompas, which kind of makes you wonder: are the Oompa Loompas actually fairies?
I don't know. I do love when he explains, and it's like Wang Doodles and Vernicious
Canids, yes.
And I know, and all this language, and you're wondering, are these actual words? And you want to look it up in the dictionary afterwards. It's just, I got to tell you, very literate movie, especially for a kids movie. I have to give it points. A little nonsense now and then is relished by the wisest men. I like that. I like when he says stuff of nonsense, and then he whispers, "Yeah."
Well, you stopped just before because I think the best interactions were between Mr. Salt and Willy Wonka, because he's like, Vermicious Canids, Snoz Wangers, and he says, "My dear man, we are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams," and that's the ode by Arthur O'Shaughnessy, and it's like. I just that quote always. In fact, when I started a blog page for my D&D group, I made that the quote. We are the music makers, we are the dreamers of dreams, because it's about my role playing game.
Funny, cool. No, I like it, and it's a great quote, and you're thinking that is true.
Yep.
Sarah says Willy Wonka is a horror slasher. Kids get Willy Wonka Candy Factory. You know what I'm gonna say? I would say no to that, but I would say in a way. The Saw movies are almost like a horror version of Willy Wonka.
Oh, yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah. I would say that she's right if she's talking about the Johnny Depp version, because the Johnny Depp version kept the grisly consequences that the kids have. Yes. Whereas, like I was saying, it was very clear that the children did not suffer any lasting physical trauma.
Well, and to be fair, I like that better, because I will say this, that the no trauma, because I will say this, they're still kids. Yeah. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a wonderful line in that movie, Catch Me If You Can, where Tom Hanks plays the FBI guy after Leonardo DiCaprio and all this other stuff. But at the end, he kind of starts helping him. He's like, "Why are you helping me? Like, why help me get out of jail and get this job and all this other stuff?" He says, well, you're just a kid.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, you were doing something wrong. I had to stop you, but I don't think you should be punished for the rest of your life. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what I feel with this. But good movie. And
I think we should do a rewatch of that some night.
That might be a good rewatch to do sometime. I'm up for it whenever you are. Let me know. All right, but I guess we have news to get to.
I guess so. This was a really good, good old days, though. That one, I really enjoyed.
Way to start it out. Yeah, I'll clip that. I got to clip Doctor Who's one too. I was ill this week. I'm feeling better now. I think it was Red Tide, but I'm feeling better. So I was terrified about the you know what. Okay, but
yeah.
Okay. So first article. Yay! Oh God.
Oh yeah. Let's get into this one. Yep.
I decided this week keep Disney off the headline because I've heard rumors that he put Disney in your YouTube negatively headline. YouTube punishes you. I don't know if that's true or not, but I figure, this week we'll keep it off and see if I get more views. We'll see.
Oh, okay.
It was like half the views of the prior week, and I'm like, I wonder if YouTube doesn't like it when you attack the mouse. I mean, we love Disney. At least when they do the right thing, some of the time.
I would argue we want to love Disney.
We want to love Disney. I want to love all these companies, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah, 20 years ago, I didn't hate any studio. Okay, I want to make this clear.
Mm-hmm.
Sony, Disney, put out a good movie, I'll go see it. Put out a bad movie, I might still see it and think it was bad, or maybe not see it at all, but I won't hold that against you if you put out another good movie. We're in different times nowadays, and I'm blaming a lot of this, and I'm starting to wonder if streaming is a big problem. But let's move into it. Scarlett Johansson's lawyer accuses Disney of misogynistic attack and attempting to hide misconduct.
That's rich. I'd love to hear this one. How do they support that idea?
Scarlett Johansson's lawyer has accused Disney of a misogynistic attempt, as well as attempting to hide misconduct with seeking arbitration. Okay, well, that's the title. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Last month, it was announced that Johansson was initiating legal proceedings against the company. In her complaint, the actor alleges that the simultaneous release of Black Widow on Disney Plus, as well as the cinemas, violated her contract. The filing, which was reviewed by The Independent, alleged that Johansson's compensation for the movie was largely based on Black Widow's box office performance, which was substantially lower than projected. In response to the suit, Disney issued a statement claiming that there is no merit whatsoever to this following and that the company had fully complied with her contract. Yesterday, Disney filed a motion to force Johansson into private arbitration. Johansson's lawyer, John Berlinski, issued a scathing statement in response. After initially responding to this litigation with a misogynistic attack against Scarlett Johansson, Disney is now predictably trying to hide its misconduct in a confidential arbitration, he said. Disney was earlier criticized for disclosing the actor's fee, $20 million, for the film, a move which Johansson's agent called an attempt to weaponize her success as an artist and businesswoman. I want to throw up at all this. Okay. Berlinski speculated that the company was filing for arbitration because it knows that Marvel's promise to give Black Widow a typical theatrical release like its other films had everything to do with guaranteeing that Disney wouldn't cannibalize box office receipts in order to boost Disney Plus subscriptions. He added, yet that is exactly what happened, and we look forward to presenting the overwhelming evidence that proves it. The Oscar nominee's lawsuit argues that her compensation for the movie was largely based on Black Widow's box office performance and had extracted a promise from Marvel that the release would be a theatrical release. It continues, Disney was well aware of this promise, but nonetheless directed Marvel to violate its pledge and instead released the picture on Disney Plus streaming service the very same day it was released in movie theaters. As it stands, Black Widow is one of the lowest grossing Marvel cinematic films to date, with global takings of $3.9.5 million, a figure that cinema owners are attributing to the simultaneous streaming release.
Yeah, so we've talked about this over on my channel. We talked about it last week. We've even talked about it a lot offline. But this is some nastiness. One of the things I kind of got into a little bit on Friday was if you don't believe, because there was, even in our own community, there was a lot of sniping back and forth. There is no civil war at Lucasfilm. Look, that's probably the dumbest thing you could possibly say, okay? Because even if you don't have inside information, even if you don't know people that work there, there is always a civil war going on at every company, especially in Hollywood. The question is just who is on what side and what are they fighting over this week. There is always a war going on. And I think it's very clear that there's been an overall one going on at Disney. And we tend to focus like a laser beam, maybe pun intended, on the Star Wars side of it. But now we're starting to see it very clearly on the Marvel side of it as well. You know, just
Feige versus Chapek.
Swap out Feige for Kathleen Kennedy, and it's definitely Chapek who is trying to pull in the reins. And look, you talk to people who actually do know something about how Hollywood goes. You listen to Midnight's Edge, you hear what Kamran Pasha has to say about this when he reads that Forbes article, the Variety article, and so forth, and says, look, when something like this happens, what you read is this. What someone in the industry reads is something very different. This is what it actually means. You start to realize, oh, yeah, that's very interesting. So I think that, look, we said this before too. We all agree, everybody from a business standpoint, even Bob Chapek agrees that the idea of releasing to theaters for 45 days and then releasing on the streaming service is a better financial model. That's just very clear. However, for Scarlett Johansson to pull this by, instead of saying to them, I don't like this, I'm upset, I'm thinking about suing, and giving them a chance to, through arbitration, or even just, don't go through the courts. We'll make it up to you. We'll give you a sequel. We'll give you a 3-movie deal. Well, whatever. Because look, that's what they did with what's her name with Cruella.
We'll settle out of court. Okay,
exactly. They didn't do that. So this is maneuvering. And it's probably not just her, and it's probably not just her agency. This is why a lot of people think Feige's involved, and who knows what other players are pushing her into this, right? But she is not in a strong position here. Yes, technically she is in a strong position in that if she can demonstrate breach of contract, this was what I signed up for and this isn't what I'm getting, you're kind of screwing me on this. But what is her evidence that she would have made more money if they would have released in the theater? Because I'm telling you, coming up very shortly, we're going to have Shang-Chi getting released. And Shang-Chi is absolutely getting 45 days in theater exclusive before it goes to the streaming service. And it's going to bomb. And it's going to bomb big time. And that opens up Disney to say, hey, look, apples to apples. You have a Marvel movie. They're a Marvel movie. Looks like Marvel movies just aren't selling like they used to. So You really don't have a legal leg to stand on, girl.
I have a question, though. She says misogynistic attack, where the lawyer does.
I was waiting for you to get to something in that article that really made it clear. I didn't hear anything.
Was it something like behind the scenes that they heard that they can't reveal to us that was misogynistic?
Maybe that's the implication, but honestly, Occam's razor, it's probably just, I'm a woman, I'm pulling the woman card. This is inequity in payment of women.
What does misogyny mean? Because I know that the certain people. I'll tell you what it means. I know what it means.
We live in an age where the meanings of words are being co-opted. So I talked about this last week. This whole idea that when that article says something about creators not liking Bob Chapek, what they mean by creators and what we understand creators to be are two very different things. So you're not reading what they're saying. You're reading what you are projecting onto what they're saying. Same thing here. When people say misogyny, heck, even when they used the R word relating to not liking people of different colored skin than you, other such words, phobes, any kind of phobes, they are not using those words as they are intended.
No.
So misogynist, of course, literally breaking it down, the etymology of the word, mis means hatred of, and gyne, woman. You hate women. Okay? So if you're a misogynist, you hate women. You are someone that just literally, purposely looks down on women, is maybe abusive in your relationships. That's women. Misogyny.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Treating someone like an equal and screwing them out of money on a business deal. Sorry. That's not because of what you have dangling between your legs. That's because of the business you chose to go into. Congratulations. You got equality.
Yeah.
You know, this whole idea of being a phobe, a this-a-phobe and that-a-phobe, it means you're afraid of them. Okay. Arachnophobia. I'm afraid, and it's usually an irrational fear of spiders, right?
Right.
Now, if you live in Australia, maybe it's not such an irrational fear. Maybe that's just trying to stay alive. But, agoraphobia, you're afraid to go outside. Well, I think they're trying to make a whole generation of people that are like that these days. But when they say that you're a phobe of any of it, no. The only thing I might be a phobe of is this social reconstruction you're trying to do by changing words and, making some people less equal by making people more equal because of the color of their skin. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, right? This whole idea that we wanted equality, but now we don't want equality. Now we want everyone that was historically not equal to be more equal now to even things out. So more inequality is what's going to make us equal. I don't know.
Oh, LaCroix Dog says misogyny means using chromosomes for clout.
Nope. It's not even chromosomes anymore.
I know.
Because, man, I feel like a woman. Ba, 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 da, da,
please.
da.
Let's not. Well, I guess we have to go there. Anyway. Okay, Auditor Dread says everybody.
Absolutely. Miss Andre. Well, actually, not nobody is talking about this. There's a lot of people, including women, and I've said this for a long time, there's a lot of women out there who love their men because they're mothers of sons, they have brothers, they have fathers, and believe it or not, I know this might be a shock to you, there are some women out there who actually love their husbands. I'm looking at one right now across the room from me. I mean, yeah, she's a little bit weird, but I'm not going to complain about that.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Miss Andre later on tonight, too, because we have an article
that
we'll
is all about
it. Oh, we're going to get to it. This is the other article. Disney makes first move in Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow suit. I don't know if we want to cover this for a little bit.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and read it? Yeah, I'll sum it up real quick, though.
Okay, I mean, stop me if it gets dull. Okay,
No.
Disney is demanding that Scarlett Johansson's suit over her Black Widow pay be moved to arbitration. The filings came near midnight on Friday evening in Los Angeles Superior Court. The company has also received that on August 10th, it initiated arbitration against her. In her complaint, Johansson alleges her contract was breached when the superhero film was released on Disney+. Yes, we know all this, okay? The actress earns bonuses when Black Widow breaches certain box office performance markers, and she accuses Disney of not debuting the film exclusively in theaters because it saw the opportunity to promote its flagship subscription service. Now, I do think that this was a boo-boo. But at the same time, I also understood probably the argument.
A boo-boo on whose part?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if this is a breach, they should have at least reached out to her. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time,
yeah, no, I would argue that the Disney side of it, they're not pulling any punches anymore. They're like, you decided to go this route, F you.
There were other routes she could have taken, though. Yes,
oh yeah,
I do agree
and basically, and here I'll give it to you from a legal standpoint. I'm not even talking business here.
Yeah,
I'm just talking legally. The judge looks at this and goes, "Well, yeah, this should have gone to arbitration in the first place. How is this even here? If you haven't even talked about this." So immediately the judge, I mean, if assuming a true unbiased judge, is looking at this going, Miss Johansson, did you not, seek arbitration, or did you not talk to your representatives at Disney before filing this lawsuit? Yeah, get out of my court. Go to arbitration. That's pretty much how law goes in these kinds of business cases. If there is any way, heck, even in family court, there is mandatory arbitration before you get a divorce. You go and you talk to somebody first. See if you can't work it out before you come here. I mean, it's never going to happen, but at least an attempt is made, and it's part of the course of law, the course of the case. So yeah, and the other thing too is, Disney really doesn't want this out in the public. They want to be able to, and unfortunately, I do feel like Chapek had already made the right decision. This decision to, okay, we're going to curtail, multi-year contracts. We're going to, start looking at what's better financially. I mean, there was all the dust up and hullabaloo about his, data points about looking at different ways of marketing movies. Well, that's what you do if you want to maximize your profits, right? Yeah. So he's on the right track. He's thinking the right thoughts. He's, going about it the right way. And we all know that he's eventually going to come to the decision, we need to go back to theaters. And hopefully it happens soon, because Disney will lead the industry back to the cinema that way. I honestly believe that, because really the industry goes the way Disney goes. However you feel about that is just reality, okay?
It is. Everyone, I mean, no one is actually, I'm sorry, people are not directly competing with Disney right now. I wish they were. But none of them have the cojones right now. I think they got scared when Disney bought up too many properties. But
in a way, I'm saying good, because, this is the big company making the choices, and they're making what I believe to be the right decision.
So if Disney can get fixed, then maybe the other studios will follow suit.
And look, it's just not sustainable. I said this years ago, and Kamran Pasha and a Valiant Renegade and Script Doctor have been saying this too. Absolutely, these businesses exist to make money, and if they stop making money, the people that are really in charge, which are the stockholders, start coming out and saying, you know what? And I would not be surprised if we don't hear years from now that Bob Iger, the reason he was moved out and Chapek moved in was because of stockholders saying, we don't have confidence in Iger anymore. You heard it here first, folks. I'm not quoting anyone on that. That's just my own speculation.
You want to read the last paragraph of this article, though? This is the attorney for Johansson.
Go for it.
After initially responding to this litigation with misogynistic attack against Scarlett Johansson, again, I don't know what they're talking about. Disney is now predictably trying to hide its misconduct and confidential arbitration.
I think I know.
Yeah.
This is going back to the last week's articles that we were talking about, where she was upset that they disclosed her salary and what she had contracted for. And a lot of people criticized Disney for that, pointing out, did you do that just because she's a woman, or what?
Well, you can't prove that they did it because she's a woman, okay?
No, but people can cast whatever aspersions they want. The other thing is, a lot of people said, well, that's kind of dirty pool to reveal someone's salary, which, on the face of it, I would agree with. Until, again, you go back to, but she's the one that decided to take it to court. You take it to court, it becomes public. So now it's not Disney. Now Disney has every right and obligation to make whatever they want public. So don't now get pissed off when they want to take it private. You drew first blood. Don't blame them for the blood on the floor.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how this works out in court. It should be interesting to see how this all goes for actors' careers in Hollywood. I want to know who's going to win and what the result of this is going to be. And basically,
you want a prediction?
You think? What do you think?
Disney's going to win, absolutely, hands down. Now, this is not based on who I want to see win, because honestly, I can see both sides in this. I said this last week. I don't care how much she makes. A lot of people have said she shouldn't be making this much money. I don't give a flying fig. I say, especially these people that are talking about the gender pay gap, One of the biggest arguments for why a gender pay gap even exists is because statistically, don't give me any crap about this, okay? I'm quoting actual studies and statistics here. Right. Women tend not to negotiate as strongly and as forcefully as men do. Yes. Statistically speaking, that's just how it goes. And I'm sorry, you take two men, one who's a little bit more alpha and one who's a little bit more beta, that alpha male's going to always get paid more because he pushes in the negotiations, okay? And that's not all men, that's not all women, but generally, That's how it works out. So I have nothing against Scarlett Johansson making a power move trying to make more money. And if she contracted for multi-millions of dollars, well, good on her. Because just like a guy throwing a pigskin around for a couple years, he's got a limited career and he needs to plan his retirement, right?
Right.
And you can argue that he doesn't deserve millions and millions of dollars for throwing a pigskin around and running up and down a court and knocking over a bunch of guys. But you're the one that keeps buying the tickets and the T-shirts and whatnot. So, yeah, he makes that kind of money. You're the one buying the action figures, going to see these movies and whatnot. Yeah, she deserves that money.
If he's the draw to the games and for the merchandise, then yes.
And you better believe that Scarlett Johansson has been a draw to the MCU. Now, you could make a great argument saying that she was done dirty by not getting this movie years ago, but that's not the argument she's making. The argument she's making is very difficult to make in this market right now.
Now I have a question. Theoretically, though, if she were to win this lawsuit and Disney loses, would this hurt Chapek? I'm not saying that is going to happen, but if it did,
no, I don't think so.
Okay,
because I'm getting into way speculative territory
right.
here.
I don't know either.
But my expectation would be he would pivot into it and say, you know what? We've learned something here today. Maybe she had a point. Maybe releasing to theaters 45 days is good, because that's what's going to happen. She's going to have some receipts to demonstrate this. And you and I know that she can't do it with Marvel films, but she can go and say, well, look at what happened with Godzilla and King Kong. Look at what happened with, I don't know, name some. There's been a couple other movies that have come out. The Free Guy did really, really well in theaters.
Technically, it's a Disney release because I think it was one of the holdovers from 20th Century
But
Fox.
from the entertainment standpoint, it's not an apples to apples comparison because it's not a superhero movie. But you can make that argument from a business standpoint, and I think Chapek agrees with that. That right. Yes, release to theater is a better option for 45 days. He just happens to know that we're not seeing it with Marvel films, though. So, yeah, I think either way, he's gonna turn this to his own advantage. It's a win-win for him, really, because if the decision is, oh, we need to be releasing in theaters, well, that's kind of where he was going anyway. So good, he gets what he wants, and he's got the cover of, hey, we had this lawsuit. We've demonstrated to the public that this has to happen, so this is how we're going to go. And if he wins the case, then she goes away and he can continue to do the contracts however he wants. And I'm telling you, ultimately, this is what I've been saying for some years, and a lot of people have been saying it, not just me, that, yeah, the money is not there anymore for these actors. They cannot justify these multi-million dollar contracts anymore. They've got to start making these movies much cheaper. You're going to start seeing a lot more of the Blumhouse type of films where you come up with a decent story, but minimal special effects, and you're paying actors almost scale.
It should be interesting to see how this turns out. Maybe that'll be better for movies if they're smaller budgeted. Maybe there'll be less egos in the room and less.
Honestly,
I don't know.
Sorry for Scarlett Johansson, but it's a win-win. It really is. At this point, I hate to take this stance, but what's good for Chapek right now is good for Disney, and ultimately good for the fans, because he's not that he gives a crap about the fans other than their money.
Yes,
but it ends up being an unholy alliance.
Our main thing with Chapek is we want him around if he does indeed plan on, which I think he does want to do, limit these long-term contracts.
Yeah.
If he could just get rid of someone a lot easier, that'll be better for us, because it means that
he wants to limit the contract, so he's got negotiating power. He wants to lower the salaries for these actors, which is only going to be better for the box office revenues, which is in turn better for the fans that want to see certain movies. He wants to divorce Disney from China, which we've gone on many, many shows about that. So
Yeah, well, that shoes. I mean, come on. That
It
shoe's
has to
about
happen.
drop.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it hasn't dropped already. Okay, I'm not going to post the link to this, but I'm sure many of you have already seen this on YouTube. Spider-Man: No Way Home trailer. Did
Yeah.
you watch it, Troy?
No.
No. Okay. Ah!
I was. Let me tell you though. So, and I wasn't even sure if you were sending me this to go into the notes to talk about tonight.
Sorry, we don't even have to talk about it that much.
Or if you were just sending it for me, hey, look, this is interesting, you might be interested. And I looked at it, I seriously thought about doing a video. Because everyone was doing reaction videos to Spider-Man No Way Home trailer dropping. And I was like, I'm going to go on and I'm going to do my opening and I'm going to say, yeah, so I saw the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, and I thought, like all the other YouTubers out there, I would do a reaction video. I don't care. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and ending the video.
Okay. All right. I will tell you. I want me to tell you what happens in the trailer. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I'm sure everyone here.
Jonah Jameson, after he got a video from Mysterio, exposes Peter Parker as Spider-Man. All of New York City knows he's Spider-Man now. Okay, this is the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Okay, so this sounds very much like the original Secret War thing, where the Secret War bit where he came out and said, "I'm Spider-Man," and
and he wants to change that, so he goes to Doctor Strange and says,
"Yeah.
Can you make a spell?" And he's like, "Okay, I'll make a spell that no one knows who Spider-Man is. Okay, they forget your identity. Okay,
Yeah.
And of course the other wizard that works with Doctor Strange says, "Don't cast that spell." "Oh, I won't cast it." And then he winks at Peter Parker after the guy leaves. Okay, so he casts the spell, and Peter's like, "Wait, no one's gonna remember? What about Aunt May or my MJ? I guess the new MJ, who's not Mary Jane, but they call her MJ anyway." Okay, and
I'm gonna start calling her Chani.
I don't know. Anyway,
she's playing Chani in Dune, so she's Chani to me now.
There you go. Okay. Anyway, though, and so Peter Parker keeps interrupting him, and Doctor Strange screws up the spell, and basically we have now exposed ourselves to the multiverse or something. Okay, they're bringing the multiverse into it. Okay, and then you see different things, like you see a bomb drop, and then you hear the Green Goblin laughing, and then it ends with a big tentacle claw flying out, and then suddenly it's Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, and he says, "Hi, Peter," and it ends that way, which was kind of neat. I do like seeing Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, but you were right, it's the multiverse.
Yeah,
that's where Marvel's going, and it's
and I also can't help but think that because I didn't see it, but I heard about this. I heard about the major story points, a little bit of speculation. And I'm sorry, this sounds way too much like we're getting a live action version of one of my most hated Spider-Man comic storylines, and that's One More Day. Right. And yes, I mean, it's clearly not as bad as Peter, selling his soul to the devil to, bring back Aunt May.
Like Doctor Strange is in place of Mephisto, right?
Well, that's the other thing. Some fans are saying, "Oh, well, it's not really going to be. This is going to be Mephisto in reality," and he just thinks that it's Doctor Strange or whatever. I'm like, no, don't even start the Mephisto fan theories. Okay, I went through all that bullshit with WandaVision, and it all came out to be shit. And once again, the fans have great ideas. And Marvel doesn't. And it's never... If you come up with a good idea as a fan, I can almost guarantee you that's not going to happen because they don't have that kind of talent. But I'll tell you something else. And this is something that I heard from both Script Doctor and Cameron Pasha. When you have your fan theories... and you're doing your YouTube shows and you're doing your comments on the socialist media, be very, very careful. Because if you have an idea that you want to see make it to screen and you share it in the public sphere, it can never happen. Because the studios now go, well, fuck, I was planning to do exactly that. But now you'll come out later and sue me and say it was your idea, so I can't do that.
I don't know the fulls of this case, but I do remember that there was an author who I think was writing
it was a Star Trek thing.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah.
Where he was at the Star Trek Experience, and he was doing a tour and saying, I think he was writing something for Deep Space Nine or something like that. And someone said, you know what you should do is this and this. And he's like, please don't. I can't solicit. I can't hear any da-da-da-da. And it turned out that was what the kid was suggesting was exactly what they had already decided to do on the show. And it was already like printed and in the can. And then after the show came out, he tried to sue, Paramount or whatever. And it's like, and so none of these, and there's a lot of others
that have cases like this too. Yeah.
That have had plans for their TV shows, a lot of these superhero stories, and something comes out on social media and they go, well, we can't do that anymore.
Well, no, the case I had heard about, I think it was a guy who was writing, I don't know if it was a fantasy book series or a science fiction book series, and I guess someone wrote a fan fiction. I don't know. This is what I heard. I don't know the full details about it, but that he wrote that there was a fan fiction that did something with the characters that he was also planning to do, and he hadn't read this fan fiction, okay? But I think the person was still able to sue him. Now, I don't know. For all I know, this is an urban legend. This didn't happen, but that's an example.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but apparently this, script doctor who literally is working on scripts in Hollywood says, this is a consideration we have to take into account. And if we are aware of something that shows up on a Twitter page or something, and it's too close to what we've been planning, we can't do it. So all your favorite fan theories, all your great stories that you're throwing out there, almost can guarantee you that if there's, if they haven't already filmed it, it won't get filmed now. And now they've got to come up with some other bullshit story that you're going to be disappointed with because everyone was running their mouth saying they should do this and they should do that and blah, 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 blah.
Don't do it. You know what I'm thinking? That maybe many of our woes, while we often talk about the political side of things, maybe a lot of it is just the internet, causing a lot of trouble.
You're not wrong there.
Okay.
There's a reason I keep calling it the socialist media.
Oh, okay.
That's not a spoonerism. I really mean what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you mean. Yeah, I got you.
Yep.
Maybe some good news, though. We got first Ghostbusters Afterlife reactions. Call it nostalgia done right with a ton of heart. Hey! Like that.
I am really fired up about this. Got the last piece of our kits. We got our khaki flight suits. Just got to get the what do you call it? The Ghostbusters things and the name tags sewn on them, and we are ready.
Cool.
We are ready.
I'm going to read a little bit from this article.
Yeah.
It's not okay. It was once a case of who you going to call when it came to spreading the word about something. But as is the way these days, it's more a case of what you going to tweet. And that's exactly what Sony will have been asking themselves when they decided to screen Jason Reitman's eagerly anticipated Ghostbusters Afterlife at CinemaCon this week. The good news appears to be that the response is overwhelmingly positive, with those lucky attendees calling it the perfect blend of classic Ghostbusters moments with a fresh and unique twist, and the sequel that I've been waiting for all my life to see. Take a look at the selection of tweets. Well, I'll read it from a couple of them, okay? Ghostbusters Afterlife was really great. As someone who wasn't a massive fan of Ghostbusters, I had so much fun even without understanding the references. A ton of heart with a great cast. New and old fans are going to love it. Stay through the credits. Okay. Another one is Ghostbusters Afterlife is the Ghostbusters sequel that I've been waiting all my life. Okay. It's nostalgia done right. Perfect blend of classic Ghostbusters moments with a fresh and unique twist for whole new generation to enjoy. I got goosebumps. This sounds really good. Okay.
Yeah.
So
no, I gotta say that the marketing team who's working on this film know what the hell they're doing. They really do. They are maybe they are looking at how every other film in the past 5 years has been marketed and are just doing the opposite. I don't know. But
we know the opposite marketing. We'll get to that later. Anyway, go
ahead. Yeah, we do. But what I wanted to say about this, though, is this is to release, to do this screening, because they are literally getting positive word of mouth out there, right? This isn't just, you know, the legacy media, right, doing their reviews and saying, oh, it's great because we were let into this advanced screening and we are going to always say it's good because we get things for doing that and we want to be on the right side of history and da 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 da. No, this is fans that saw the movie and are going and telling all their friends about it. And you know that they would be coming out and saying, oh, they did it again, it's crap. You know, if that was the case. Clearly it's not.
Nope. Oh, look at this. Troy and Eder do the Batman Robin suit up sequence. So that'd be funny.
Oh, we've got pictures of a Halloween party we went to a couple of years back as Julie Newmar and Adam West.
Oh, cool.
Catwoman. Yeah,
awesome.
I'll have to share that with you. Maybe I'll share that on Friday on my drunk stream.
That might be cool. In. Yeah, definitely. And now Paul Feig and Leslie Jones are triggered and no one cares. Yeah, funny. I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think it's going to be a good. I think at the very least it'll be a good movie.
I don't think I even need to tell you that I'm fired up about it, right?
Yeah, and I think I can feel confident walking into that theater, and I think I will walk into it opening weekend. I think I'm going to be catching that.
November 11th, people.
Yeah.
That's opening night.
And, good on Sony. Maybe they finally, figure something out.
And if you can, go see it in an AMC theater because they're going to have the exclusive popcorn tub in the shape of the Ecto-1.
Oh, neat.
Yep. I really, really kind of want to get one. Not to put popcorn in, but it's in scale. Not that I even got the action figures for Ghostbusters, but it's like in scale with the action figures, and it's got the flashing lights and whatnot. I don't know. It's just kind of neat.
I remember actually I think Ethan Van Sciver did a video where he went to did he go to the Rise of Skywalker premiere? Uh-huh. And he got the R2-D2 tub, and it was this horrible looking thing, and popcorn was in it, but also your drink, and it could hook up to you, and you could press buttons on it to release. I don't know where he got this thing from, and because of course it's funny because he's going to hate Rise of Skywalker, right? Okay, right. But it was funny seeing him in the outfit with that on. It's funny though.
Yeah, they've been. I swear. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's like every day I see a video for a new piece of merch that's coming out for Ghostbusters Afterlife, and some of it is stuff I just don't care about. When I start seeing things like the Funko Pops and all that kind of stuff, okay, I don't care. But there is some good stuff that's coming out, and even if it's not the kind of thing I collect, I love seeing it because that enthusiasm is absolutely there. This is gonna be a good one this year, guys. It really is.
Yeah.
And I think just like Sonic, this is going to send a loud message to the industry. There's a reason this movie makes money. Don't be a dumbass.
I have a suspicion with Sonic 2 that after the fan reaction, Sega saw it and went to Paramount and said, "You changed this." Okay, I think they also didn't like it because they're the ones that own it. And I think with that, Dan Aykroyd, unfortunately too late, figured out what was going on with the other Ghostbusters movie and basically says, "You want another one of these, Sony? You I guess he's inserting more control. Plus, they have Jason Reitman directing it, so I think there's more of a guarantee, just like with that this will be better." But Horizon Talker made a point. I think he's referring to the Disney thing we just did. It's not the lawsuit that scares them. Lawsuits always get thrown out to bad press. Yeah, and
what I did want to say before we go on, because we are going to eventually be pivoting into the negative side, but what I did want to talk about is, and we don't have it in the notes, but I thought this might be a great place to throw in real quick.
Sure.
The Hollywood Reporter note about Cobra Kai co-creator reveals his rules for successfully rebooting classic IP.
Yes, I remember you posted that. Yeah, that's
good. So he said, don't rely on nostalgia or argue with your fans, explains Emmy-nominated Netflix showrunner Hayden Salzberg. I won't go into this whole thing, but I do recommend that you read this article. I posted it there for you. He, in just telling us exactly what we all know, He's kind of eviscerating Hollywood as it is right now and how they're marketing. He says, do treat the original franchise with reverence. Just as you would honor thy father and mother, so should you honor the franchise you are bringing back. Remember, your show would not exist without the original movie. This is not just IP. This is something precious to millions of people. Treat it that way. Don't be afraid to make big changes. We've said this too. Respecting the material doesn't mean you can't be original. Fans don't want the same thing they've already seen. Karate Kid fans love Cobra Kai because we took the bully, Johnny Lawrence, from the original movie and made him the underdog of our story. Do create new characters to enrich your story and reach younger viewers. What are we always saying, people? We don't care that you bring in the daughters and the sons and people of different races and the next generation. Just don't dishonor what went before it, right? Don't forget about the original characters or your older audience. Sure, you want to lure younger viewers, but first you must win over the hardcore fans who made your franchise a success. In other words, don't keep trying to jettison the previous viewers, in the hopes that you'll find some magical new audience. It doesn't work that way.
And I'm also going to say something else, too. This with the Star Wars movies, with the sequel trilogy, you're spending so much time bashing and destroying the old characters, you're not even establishing your new ones, okay?
Right.
They should be the focus, but and you could do that by having the other ones be supporting characters and not be focusing your energy on deconstructing and all this other nonsense. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Absolutely.
Johnny Lawrence is still Johnny Lawrence, okay?
I was reading this and I was thinking, these are the things that I hear you and so many people in our chat saying all the time. Do use nostalgia to draw your audience into the story, but don't rely on nostalgia. Callbacks bring back memories, but they don't tell a story. Even hardcore fans will tune out if they aren't hooked into a compelling plot with great characters. And exactly how many Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever is like, well, let's just throw out member berries and that'll bring the fans back. No, because first you're dishonoring them. You're dishonoring the legacy of these characters, so your member berries aren't going to make up for that. And secondly, you're not telling a story we're invested in. Clearly, we got that with Star Wars. So, exactly. And I really read this article because if nothing else, it's like a love letter to all of us that have been saying this for so long. Somebody in Hollywood who is successful, clearly successful, irrefutably successful with what he's created is telling us exactly what we already know and telling Hollywood this is how it's done. If you want to make money, if you want success, this is how you do it. If you just want to pander and piss away an IP, keep doing what Hollywood's been doing.
Like what was done with He-Man recently.
That's actually a perfect example, yeah.
Oh, but Horizon Talker he was actually referring to the copyright lawsuits. But, well, there's so many lawsuits these days, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, speaking of bad press, I was going to segue into Arnold Schwarzenegger. Do you not want to do this? Okay. Screw your freedom remarks leads to a sponsorship loss.
And what was my immediate response to that? Screw your freedom. Screw you, Governor.
Yeah, you were not happy. I don't think anybody was happy with that. Arnold Schwarzenegger, screw your freedom remarks lead to a sponsorship loss. So, hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger's annual bodybuilding competition, the Arnold Sports Festival, has lost a sponsor, and it looks like they won't be back. Last week, Redcon One, a sports supplement company, announced that they would discontinue its support of the upcoming event, also known as the Arnold Classic, as well as all other Schwarzenegger-related events. The move followed in an interview from earlier this month where the kindergarten cop star and the former governor of California firmly took anti-mask protesters to school. Speaking with CNN's senior global affairs analyst Bianca Goladraga and retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman as part of a virtual event for Vindman's book, Here Right Matters. Schwarzenegger discussed the public efforts to shoot down misinformation surrounding the ongoing coronavirus amidst the the thing I can't say. Okay.
Yeah.
There's still people live in denial, people who don't believe in masks. He observed, emphasized the importance of listening to experts like Dr. Anthony Fauci, Chief Medical Advisor to President Joe Biden, and the Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. You know, it makes me think, too, this stuff is really not going to be aging well. Okay.
I agree. Guys, think about what this whole thing is, okay? I don't care how bad this disease is, okay? Do you want to live in a world where your government can now mandate to you, you've got to wear a mask? You've got to wear what next? Maybe next you wear a hazmat suit. You can't leave your house. You know, this is about as fascist as you can get.
Have you heard what's going on in Oregon right now?
No, I don't think so.
Not good. It's like mask mandates even if you've been vaccinated. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, that's back here in Illinois, too. We just went to the store the other day, and all the stores had backup regardless of your vaccination status. And that's the other thing. It changes every other week, right? First, it's you don't have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated. Now everybody has to wear a mask again. There's the case out of I don't remember what state, kids in kindergarten being forced to wear masks. Yeah, you try to get a kindergartner on the airline. The flight attendant suggested gluing the mask to the kid's face.
Ridiculous.
You know what? You people are frickin' insane. And then you got this frickin' Austrian coming in, sounding like another Austrian from history. Yes. I remember talking about what's for the greater good and take away your freedom because the greater good.
Well, like I said, I have German ancestors that came over to the country in the 1850s. There's a reason they left. Of course, Austria's not. Well, Anyway.
No, but the Austrian was the guy with the bad mustache and the comb over that took over Germany.
Yeah, well, Schwarzenegger's own family has some interesting lineage. But let's be blunt. I used to love Schwarzenegger for years, but he's way off here. When someone says screw your freedom, I can't, and Redcon 1 can't in good conscience continue to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars sponsoring that person or show, he continued. This is sanity. Sanity from a company. Good for them.
And like I said, to him, this is nothing because he's got more. He's one of these people that we were just talking about who's made millions and millions of dollars off of his movies. He made so much money off of some of his movies. He would say, you know what, you can't afford me, so just give me a what do you call it, a Harrier or an Apache helicopter, And I'm just thinking, if you really wanted those things, you should have gone to Afghanistan.
Oh.
Yeah. Talk to them about freedom over there, you dumbass.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm going to be talking about, I'll talk about that later with Blake 7, but it's becoming eerily pressy, that show.
Blake 7, yeah, right?
I'll talk
especially
about
the whole thing about the very first episode of Blake 7. They have this, he goes on trial on Trump.
Save it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, we're going to get to Blake 7.
Yeah, that's right. We do have it on the docket.
We're going to talk about it a little bit. Yeah,
that's
I'm
true.
Go into it, but yeah. But, I am going to say this, though. We often complain about companies doing terrible things and trying, like Coca-Cola months back. Remember when what they were trying to do? If a company does the right thing, remember them. Maybe when you're doing purchasing and stuff, and just, write them a good review. Maybe just if they're doing the right thing by us, the American public, think about it, okay?
It happens once in a while, I guess.
It does happen once in a while. Someone over there has a conscience, okay? All right?
Are we ready for this?
Okay. This is the big one.
We need you need to get everyone up to speed. So you're going to read this article. That gives me a chance to run to the washroom.
Run to the bathroom. I am going to read this article. Okay. So this has been all over YouTube. It's still going on all over YouTube. The big controversy going on with this. Okay. I'll read from this article, and then I may start screaming. So hold your ears. Okay. I was initially not even going to be giving this series any attention because I have expected it to be junk and I don't want to give it, but you're poking me and maybe that's your intent. I don't know, but we're going to read from this article. Okay. Cowboy Bebop actress Daniela Pineda appears to deride fans criticizing Netflix's live action Faye Valentine. Okay. Let's move into it. All right. Cowboy Bebop actress Daniela Pineda, who plays Faye Valentine in the upcoming Netflix live action adaptation of the show, recently appeared to deride fans following Netflix's first look photos at the series. This new move by Pineda appears to be the latest marketing stunt from Netflix in an attempt to get people interested in the show. Benita posted an updated to her Instagram story section called Fan Apology. The video has subsequently been uploaded to YouTube by user Ibrahim. I can't pronounce that last name, but although the below video does not include the ending, okay? In the video, Benita begins, "Hey guys, as you know, our Cowboy Bebop first look dropped today, which was so exciting. And I just wanted to address a couple of things that keep coming up in the comments amongst fans." She then proceeded to sarcastically deride critics of the first look, saying, "First, I wanted to apologize to the fans that I did not anatomically match the Faye Valentine character. 6 foot, double D sized breasts, 2-inch waist. You know they looked everywhere for that woman and they couldn't find her. It was kind of weird, so they just went with my short ass. I know, am I right?"
You know what? They looked all over for her. They didn't even find her in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to get to that in a minute. Okay. There was talk about, like, can we put Danielle in a time machine and maybe give her different parents so she has different genetic information to sort of make her look better? It proved to be too complicated, Benita added. I'm going to say something right now that even, good on a lot of the other YouTubers for pointing other things out, but I don't think anybody has pointed this out. Okay? I decided to go ahead and look up Faye, the character of the shows, Faye Valentine's measurements, because they keep saying 6 foot, double D breasts, okay?
Yeah.
They keep saying this, okay? Faye Valentine, bust, 81 centimeters, waist, 57 centimeters, okay? Hips. Okay, anyway, bra size, 30cc cup in both America and Japan. She is a small C, okay? Her height is 5'5", okay? Same height as Daniela Pineda, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't know where the 6 feet comes from, okay?
Yeah.
And let's see.
Is she drawn with a 2-inch waist?
No, she's not drawn with a 2-inch waist. They don't have the waist. She's not, okay?
I know.
And I think Danielle Pineda is a small B cup. It's not. I'm sorry. You believe it or not, Danielle Pineda I actually think has a similar body type to that of Faye Valentine. Okay?
I agree, and you're being incredibly disingenuous if you think that actresses have not been having a little bit of augmentation by the costume department ever since the dawn of film.
Oh yeah. Well, she gets onto the costume. You want to get to the costume?
Not to mention that we also know that she's had some augmentation to her own physicality.
Oh really?
So,
well, that's most actresses in Hollywood.
Well,
anyway.
You bet if that's fine. I have nothing against it. But then you better not start the BS. If you're going to stand on that high horse, you better have your nose clean and not tucked.
Okay, Pineda then addressed criticism of the outfit. The other thing I wanted to bring up was I wanted to apologize that the outfit I'm wearing is not exactly what she wears in the anime. She continued, we tried, but doing stunts and tissue paper, things disappear, they rip, sometimes I just got lost. Pineda then claimed, anyway, like I was saying, that original costume, they made a couple of them, but like I said, they sort of got slurped up into my various crevices, never to be retrieved again, so we really need to build something that could withstand the test of time.
Hey, just because you got gaping crevices, don't blame the outfit.
Okay. Well, you know what? Whatever. You have a point. Okay. Anyway, the Instagram story video then transitions to playing Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up in an attempt to turn the video into a Rick roll. A Rick roll is defined as Urban Dictionaries is when you think is a link that's something you want to actually see directs you to a video of Rick Astley singing Never Gonna Give You Up. While Astley's song is playing the first look of John Cho, Ashley's song is playing the first look of John Cho as Spike Spiegel is shown with a heart around his face being shared by the Hollywood Reporter on Instagram. Ashley's song continues to play as a comment on the Hollywood Reporter's Instagram, and a reaction to the first look shows Pineda wrote, "Oh man, they better not ruin this. I mean, where's Ed? They better not mess this up. Why isn't Faye half naked?" It also shows Pineda typing a new comment, Cowboy Bebop drops November 19th on Netflix. So this is where I'm getting a little confused by this whole thing, okay? are all these like nasty comments? These things really exist, or did she make a fake nasty comment? And is now pretending like, oh, this is what a fan wrote, and now she's like acknowledging it. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I would kind of say, and this is another one of those times where I'm going to say, this isn't for me. I want to just share what Midnight's Edge had to say about this. They dropped something on this. They talk about that Cobra Kai article that I was talking about earlier, but they talk about her and her comments, and they covered that exact speculation. And their Andre's opinion is this isn't just her going off. This is that marketing strategy that we were talking about that doesn't work, but is absolutely the kind of thing that Netflix would absolutely be behind. They put her up to this, and she played her part.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, that doesn't change the fact that she's still a duplicitous, lying bitch.
So this is a marketing
just for
strategy.
Doing this.
This is a marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying? Okay. Deriding the fans, that's always a winning endorsement. Okay, yeah, I know. Also, a little confused why they cast an actress of Mexican descent. Yeah, she's listed as white Mexican / American. I guess she has mixed heritage or whatever descent, who's supposed to be from Singapore. Yeah, the character Faye Valentine is from Singapore. I want to make a point about something, okay? Mm-hmm. This character is Asian on the cartoon, okay? And, okay, so they race swap this character out, and nobody has a peep. They race swap out Scarlett Johansson, supposedly for the Major in Ghost in the Shell movie. Mm-hmm. And everybody flips out and starts calling it race swapping and starts screaming, except for everyone living in Japan who didn't care because they figure Scarlett Johansson's a big star. We'd expect her to be playing the main role. Okay? Exactly.
We didn't make this movie. It was made in the United States. So the fact that they used, an American actress is not
Yeah, they have an American actor. They expected a high-paid American actress playing it. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't have this. They don't have these hang-ups over there. Anyway, but the SJWs are all silent when it comes to this recasting, okay? They also recast Spike Spiegel as Asian when I believe the character is Jewish on the show. Mm-hmm. Not that I guess that's not counting as much for anything, according to the SJWs these days either. And now they're coming after the fans. And let me tell you something too. I have been a Cowboy Bebop fan. I was a big fan back in the day. I bought the box set when it came out on DVD and the special nice art box that came out. And I used to catch it on the Cartoon Network. Then I bought the box set. I rebought it again when they released a version of it that had 5.1 surround sound because the music and everything else in the show is that good. I wanted to hear it in the surround, okay?
Yeah.
I imported the soundtrack from Japan, the 4-disc soundtrack, because the music is amazing. It's Yoko Kanno, a great female composer over in Japan, made a nice jazzy soundtrack for this show. And it's an excellent series, but it is from the late 90s. And then at some point, the rights to Cowboy Bebop got sold. And it's like this thing is now getting it's like that one guy that kidnapped on Game of Thrones and the enemy was bringing him out in front of the castle and threatening to hang him each day in front of the other side. Or we're going to hang this guy. That's what it's felt like with Cowboy Bebop for like the last 20 years. I knew this was going to happen at some point. And originally it was going to be a movie starring Keanu Reeves. I'd much rather have that than this. Ghost in the Shell movie came out. Didn't care for it. But I will say this. The studio, they put money behind it, at least aesthetically looking. It was as close. It looked good. I mean, I didn't think the story was all there. But that's another thing. The studio actually went to Japan and did a press junket in Japan and actually, talked to the Japanese people, had Scarlett Johansson there with the director, the interview by the press. They were being as respectful as they could be to the fact that this is a Japanese property and we are adapting it. Same goes for Alita, okay? Mm-hmm. They did a big conference there. Rosa Salazar, she was wearing a kimono. It was cute. And Christoph Waltz was there, and he was being interviewed by I-Chan. He was flirting with like the I-Chan, like one of their one of the original those things that Mr. Matchstick likes so much, the VTubers, right? Yeah, he was talking to her and flirt, and it was fun. And you could tell they had this scene where Rosa Salazar receives I think she receives from the creator of the Alita manga box set. It's very nice, and it's respect. Okay, this is a cultural product of another country. Okay, we are getting it here. Okay, it's not just about you insulting the American fans of this show. You're insulting the Japanese. You're insulting the Japanese creators of both the manga and the original series that came out in Japan. With this stuff. Okay, there's nothing wrong with the way Faye is dressed. It's a very lazy outfit. That's her character. She looks good in it.
You can't even and she can't even make this argument either, because you know the internet is forever. Things don't go away. Anna, that Star Wars girl, and a lot of other YouTubers have gone out and seen some of her other costumes from other movies, and Anna took some stills from something she was doing. I don't know what the heck it was, wearing as little or less than the character in the cartoon, and recolorized it and says, she's done it before. Don't know why she can't do it now. You know, so she's done this before. This has nothing to do with how she feels about the outfit. This is a virtue signal, part of the marketing thing to try to sell a show that nobody wanted in the first place. This is going back to exactly what we were talking about with that Hollywood article. You shit all over the fans. They're not going to come see it. You have not treated this fandom with respect. You have not treated the IP with respect. You're not going to suddenly garner a bunch of new audience, so it's going to fail. Yeah.
Well, I was bringing up Alita, though, to make a point that the people that made that film treated the original property with respect. And treated the creator of the property. And even with Ghost in the Shell, even though I feel that was an unsuccessful movie, I feel that had more respect than this is. I am completely insulted by this, and I know this is a marketing ploy, and I can only imagine how bad this series is. And
I've said this many times. I've made the comparison when you're translating something from, comic book or whatever to a film. The ones that do it best are the ones that just treat a comic book like it's your, storyboards, and the one who's really good at this is Zack Snyder. You look at Watchmen, you look at the 300. He just takes a single comic book, turns it into a movie, and everyone says, yeah, you whether you like the story or not is entirely up to you. But you can't say, he didn't do a faithful translation of the comic book, and that's all that people want. And look, what we're basically saying is we're okay if you're lazy. Okay, just take what exists and make it into a movie and don't think too hard about it. But these are not those people. These are people that don't really want to make Cowboy Bebop. They want to, antagonize anime fans, and basically this is them trying to do what they did last summer to California. They're trying to do that to anime now.
I am going to say this as far as the Watchmen goes, whether or not you liked that movie or thought it was a good adaptation, Zack Snyder did like the work. Okay, he did appreciate it. He did think the work was important, and he wanted to direct it. Okay, you can argue if you liked it or not, but he, at least you could tell he respected the original work. There's no respect for this work here. Okay, look at this. We have Salon claims. Oh, this here we go. This is just if you thought that was bad, though, this is the Salon. And this is where Bounty in the Comics comes in real handy. Do not click on the Salon article.
Yeah.
Do not give them any attention. Okay, that's what they're looking for. I'm sure this whole site exists just to grief people. Okay, but I'm going to read a little bit from it. I may stop at some point because I think it's just we want to talk about misandry. Let's move on to here. Though individuals of every color, creed, and gender have taken issue with the disappointing, less sexualized live-action translation of Faye Valentine's costume in Netflix's upcoming adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, Salon has unsurprisingly convinced themselves that the backlash to the alteration by iconic character signature look is based solely on quote-unquote horny male outrage. Headlining her piece for all politically progressive news outlet, of course, Cowboy Bebop is already inciting horny male outrage, and it hasn't even premiered yet. Salon.com. And I keep wondering, where is this outrage?
Well, it's also incredibly disingenuous that they're focusing, and it's really just assumptions. They're assuming that all the outrage is from males. Because I'm sorry, I can Google up right now pictures of Comic-Con of this character being role-played by a whole bunch of women who pull the costume off every bit as well as, this actress absolutely could if they put her in it.
Because she's a sassy, cool
character. And they are not complaining about the male gaze. They are fans. They're not, hornily gazing at this character that they're dressing up as. Well, I don't know. Maybe some of them are. But
well, look, I'm not going to say that Faye Valentine isn't a very attractive woman, but they always have to go there.
Oh, no. When I saw that clip, when I saw her little rant, when I saw it paused at the beginning on Midnight's Edge, I'm like, oh, who's this? She's cute. The more she talked, the less attractive she was to me.
No, I'm going to say this. I don't even necessarily even think, if beyond the race swapping, which, it either is or isn't a problem, make your choice, SJWs, or do you just not believe in this shit after all and you're all full of shit, maybe? I don't know. But
well, anyway, no, that's absolutely it.
Okay.
Kamran has said that absolutely from firsthand experience.
But I wouldn't even have a problem with her playing. I wouldn't even have a problem with them even making the series. But I know it's going to be crap, okay? I know it's going to be crap because they're already starting on the wrong foot here, okay?
Yep.
And look, here's the problem with the original Cowboy Bebop. It's a finite series. As popular as it was, it never got revisited. They didn't do a sequel or a remake because they've done anime remakes in Japan as well where they remake older shows. They've left this one alone. I think they've said this is perfect as is.
Yeah.
We're not going to continue it. It's a finite series. Enjoy it. And then, of course, Hollywood, we knew at some point was going to tackle it. And, you either get someone who understands what it is, like someone who would like to do like a gangster noir type thing. They should feel right at home with doing this. It's simply in a science fiction setting. That's it. It's very down to earth.
It's funny because you were talking to me about this in the green room before the show and kind of explaining this aspect to me. And you said this Faye character is very much like a 20s flapper in that style. And as soon as you said that, I looked at her hairstyle, I looked at her outfit, I'm like, I could totally see that.
Yeah, I was.
And then I'm sitting there going, now wait a minute. So if you were doing a period piece set in the 20s, you'd have a problem with the outfit and say it was unrealistic?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say. I was pointing out to Troy that if you bought the import CD, you have this wonderful image of all the Cowboy Bebop characters in 1920s style outfits. And Faye, of course, is in a flapper style outfit, which I'm sure at the time was considered scandalous too. Okay, but she's fully clothed. And like we say, the actress has dressed up like this. Lots of women can dress like this, okay? Yeah. You wear like a tank top and a pair of shorts. That's basically what the outfit is. And this is just this, you know what it is? Because they see this is nerd material, and nerds are disgusting, and they're easy to attack. Let's attack them, okay?
But
not really understanding.
You make a great point because those flappers in the 20s, those were the feminists saying, I don't care about any male gaze or what anyone thinks about what I'm wearing. I'm going to wear what I want to wear, and that's empowering. And now they've completely turned it around and said, "Oh no, if I show off skin, that's bowing to the male gaze. I can't do that, and you shouldn't do that either, and you shouldn't be looking for that." And there's a bunch of women out there going, screw you, my body, my choice. I'll wear what the hell I want to wear, and I'm going to go see the films that have the kinds of clothing I like.
They
are alienating the women just as easily as they do the men.
They don't understand this audience.
No, they do not.
And it's obvious to me, I don't think this actress has ever watched the original show, okay? Oh, man, I got to say, too, there was a manga. Cowboy Bebop was based on a manga called Cowboy Bebop Shooting Star, and then it was adapted, it was changed in the series, and then they made a manga based off it. They're making comics based off this, but they're not Japanese comics. They're like the American-style comics based on this. This is going to be a disaster. This really is. This is so tone deaf. Anyway, getting back to the Salon article, I don't really want to spend too much time on it, but headlining her piece, her article, by arrogantly mocking the men of the World Wide Web by mobilized once again. No, not over the rapidly worsening climate catastrophe, stagnant wages, broken healthcare system, or endemic something culture, which I can't say that word either. Thank you, Susan. But rather over a real issue, the outfit of a female bounty hunter, the live-action adaptation of beloved anime series. Yeah, there are other issues we could talk about, too, like the situation in Afghanistan, which I know you will never talk about. Sorry, I'm getting pissed. Okay. anyway.
Well, I was
she
just...
goes on an anti-male man.
Of course she does, because
how awful men are, and it's
Yeah.
just it's terrible.
Your primary audience, you want to make sure don't get... I mean,
A lot of
how did that
women
work
like
out
this
for
show, too,
Ghostbusters
but yeah.
2016?
This is horrible. This is just, and I keep wondering too. Did someone over at Netflix put Salon up to this? That's what I'm wondering. That's the only reason I'm bringing her up.
That's kind of what the Midnight's Edge guys kind of imply. And I'm telling you, it looks to me like Horizon Talker knows a whole lot more about Cowboy Bebop than you do. Guys, I really recommend, if I dropped it before, I'm dropping it again, go follow his channel. He's got some great insights. Boomer, I would think maybe you might want to think about, if you want to do a show specifically about Cowboy Bebop, bring him in on it.
Who? I'm sorry.
Horizon Talker.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, maybe sometime we should have him on to talk about Cowboy Bebop. Maybe if I ever do a rewatch of the movie, if it ever. That's another story. We'll get into
Utter Dread, are you talking about this actress? Yeah, I've seen some of those pictures. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's my point. She's in various states of half naked. I always hate this term, half naked. You're not half naked. You're half clothed, okay? I don't know where this new Puritanism comes from. There's nothing wrong with those pics. There's nothing wrong with her wearing a bikini. I don't understand.
And for her to suggest that when she does that, she's a hypocrite. She's a freaking hypocrite, and I don't care if it's because the studio put her up to it. You're the one who's basically prostituting yourself out there by letting them say words through your mouth. I'm going to judge you by that.
Yeah, Mr. Matchstick, though, they did 2 mangas and a video game. If they ever played the video game, but I do know there were 2 mangas. There was the original, and then the one they based on the actual show, which takes place in between the show, because the show has a finite ending, okay? One that always drove me crazy was that Cowboy Bebop was categorized as a space western with obvious space gangsters. Yes, you want a space western, look for Trigun. Or at least a science fiction western. That's what that is, okay? Just because cowboy is the name doesn't mean... I mean, they were calling it cowboy because, much like people in the 1920s or 1930s, they romanticized the Old West, okay? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's how probably... I'm sure Elliot Ness was compared to, like, the sheriff coming into town and taking out the gangsters.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just... Yeah, it's a real hot topic. It's... I don't know. Anyway...
Yeah.
Knocking on Heaven's Door was a great film. I loved Knocking on Heaven's Door. They can't call it that in the United States, by the way, because all Cowboy Bebop's episodes were named after various songs. They named the movie off Knocking on Heaven's Door.
So
okay?
I guess the takeaway from this whole, rant about this dingbat actress is that really, guys, avoid this live action thing and go see the original, right?
Well, yes, I'll get into that in a minute, but I also don't want to put too positive a spin on this too, because we tend to say this. Okay, Melissa Harris says Outlaw Star. That's another anime from the same period. Outlaw Star. I would say that's pirate. That's a pirate genre in space. Think about it, Melissa. It's pirates. Okay, but what did I want to mention though? Okay, I am going to say this. Yes, you can go and watch the original Cowboy Bebop. It's on Hulu right now if you want to watch the series. The whole thing's on there. You can enjoy yourself. You can still purchase it, I believe, from Funimation, not my company, but it's still available. I have my original Bandai release, like Troy says, own physical media. But I am going to say this. Every time something like this happens, I think it does diminish the brand a little bit. It does diminish the icon a little bit. Some people can divorce themselves from that and say, okay, I'll just pretend this doesn't exist. But it kind of does. Like, I love Ghost in the Shell standalone complex and this stuff, but even the subsequent Ghost in the Shell releases, they do, in my opinion, diminish the original a little bit, and I can't enjoy them quite as much. Now, maybe after enough time has gone by, we can move on, okay? But right now, while this is on Netflix, I might be done with Cowboy Bebop for a little while, but we'll see going forward, like I said. We're going to have Horizon Talk around some time to talk about it, but I do not have high hopes for this series just based on this initial. I don't know why they're going there. This is not how. This is like the opposite of what they, like I was saying, they do with Alita at Ghost in the Shell, where they actually go to the public and say, we're trying our best to honor the original creation, okay? This is like the exact opposite of that, and we'll see how well that goes for them. This is like, yeah. But that's the point. The ideologues need to destroy our cultural touchstones, and they're succeeding. Yes, but in this case, this isn't even an American cultural touchstone. This is Japanese, and this is what I would call cultural appropriation, which is a word they like to toss out. Okay, but I would argue that this is probably more clear what that was intended as. Let's move on. Okay, I'm sorry. Do you have any other comments on this? I'm going to go to the. Sorry, you okay there, Troy? Okay. I don't know if I've gone on the rant enough.
No, it's just, but you were getting to something very interesting there. They're all about cultural appropriations, but then they have no problem doing it themselves when it suits them.
They have no problem race swapping when it suits them. Okay,
they're all about women power until they want to go for the opposite narrative. It's. They want both sides of the fence. It's like pick a side and frickin' stay on it.
Ridiculous. Okay, as I mentioned, Cowboy Bebop, the series is streaming on Hulu. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere else, but I know it's on there. It's not on Netflix, but you'll get to watch the new live-action show. Stay away, please. Okay. Actually, I'm going to do a little Netflix rant right now. Okay, while I'm thinking of it. I'm wondering. This whole mess that happened here, I'm wondering in the whole streaming wars scheme of things why they're even in it and what's going on here. What is it that they have? Okay, the other companies like Universal, Disney, they all have their IPs and all this other stuff. Amazon, I guess they're going the indie route and they're picking up these loose things and then they're doing why are they in the fight and why haven't they been bought out by a larger company? Okay,
I don't know.
Why do they even still exist as their own independent entity? I
had this same question when Disney started acquiring 20th Century Fox and Hulu and all that, and I'm like, if you're trying to win this streaming war, why don't you just buy Netflix? It made sense to me, but I don't know.
Oh, Mr. Matchstick brings up an interesting point. Is more American than Japanese in Japan. Cowboy Bebop did so on America, broke anime into... Okay, so the show was a lot more popular over here than it was in Japan. That happens with some anime, like there's so in Japan, but they break out over here and are loved. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how it was over here. I know that was the case with, I believe, the Big O and Outlaw Star. They were popular over here, but not so much in Japan. But anyway, let's move on. Cowboy Bebop movie is unstreamable. I don't know if I posted this or not, but it's from The Stranger. Okay, yeah, it's up here. So you can watch the movie, but you can't watch the series, but you can't watch the movie. Now, Cowboy Bebop, I think it's a 26-episode anime series, but there's an actual movie that they made years later that takes place during the series. So, in fact, if you own the series by volume, it takes place between volumes 5 and 6, okay? So it's like a story set in between. I guess kind of like how a Rogue One would be with Star Wars. Yeah. It takes place between the movies. And it was very well made. In some ways, I liked it more than the series, and the series was excellent, but I really loved the movie. It was like you get to see your favorite characters again one more time, and it's in a full-length feature film with, the animation was good in the series, but of course with the movie they could take more time, spend a little more money on the animation, and it had a great score, and it's an excellent movie. I should really show you the trailer for it. It has an excellent trailer, too, when it was released over here. And I am going to say this. I want to give Sony credit for something, too. When that movie came out, a different company, I believe Bandai USA released the series, and Sony got the rights to release the movie over here, right? And they were initially, I don't think, planning to go with the original English voice cast for the series, but the fans cried out, and Sony listened, and they said, you know what? We're going to cast the original cast from the show, because that's what the fans want. You can listen to the fans, and it turns out in your favor, okay? So even though they were part of a different company, they said, we'll hire you to do your voice acting again of these characters. Good on them, okay?
Right.
Sony used to do good stuff. Maybe they are.
Look, this is what I keep saying. If you're making this IP, who the hell are you making it for? If you're not making it for the fans, and thereby giving them what they want, then why even bother?
Okay. Here's from the article. Before the shouting starts, yes, Cowboy Bebop the series is available to stream on multiple platforms, but I can't find Cowboy Bebop the movie officially available to stream, at least right now. Funimation is a landing page for it, but when you click on Stream Now, it takes you to the series. Does unstreamability have something to do with the live-action Cowboy Bebop Netflix series coming later this year? Hard to say, but instead of endlessly searching streaming sites or digging through fan uploads on YouTube, your best bet is to watch this foundational film is to head to your local video store or library for some physical media, baby. This is what you're saying all the time, right?
Always saying own the physical media. Or as Rose Salazar says, buy those Blu-rays, baby.
Yeah, we need to see her in more stuff.
I know, right?
I would have loved Rosa Salazar's Faye Valentine. I would be cheering that right now.
Yeah, but you know what? She would be the exact opposite of what they want.
Oh, yeah, okay. Anyway, there's so much to say about Cowboy Bebop, so I won't get deep in the limited space we have here. If you want an in-depth breakdown, I recommend throwing a stone at any apartment window in Capitol Hill. I'm sure a local techie or weeb can speak at length about this genre-breaking series and its quintessential cool group of bounty hunters flying around in their spaceship named Bebop. I arrived at Cowboy Bebop played after working through director Shinichiro Watanabe's other space-themed anime, Space Dandy, and I regretted I put off watching this classic. Watch it all before Netflix comes through and does whatever the fuck it's going to do.
I love
Composer
it.
Yoko Kanno, the genius behind the original soundtrack, returns to compose new music for the Netflix series, which is heartening. I consider it heartbreaking. I don't know if even I'm going to bother listening to it, okay?
Yeah.
Even the soundtrack, even though she's a brilliant composer, and I'm sure it'll be good. I am going to say this. I'm not going to pick on the creators, but I am going to say in the future, please be careful who you license your stuff to. Because these American companies, they're not treating your stuff right. Cameron did. James Cameron, Rodriguez did. They think they did the best they could with Alita, especially for making it a mainstream Hollywood movie. But other studios, they'll trash your work, they'll trash the fans, and they'll trash you who created the show. Like I said, I know this thing was probably done about 20 years ago when they signed the rights to this stuff. But okay, are we ready to move on?
Well, I am just going to say one more thing, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot by bringing this up again. Maybe I'm putting someone else on the spot here. But if you were to do a special show and get with Horizon Talker, and the two of you guys talk about this,
maybe at some time
I would totally listen to that. I would be very interested. It doesn't have to be live. You could record it. I don't even know if he's interested in doing that. I'm just saying that because I'm such a fan of his content.
Gotcha.
That I know that you guys would actually do a great show together.
And, Mr. Matchstick is bringing it up. Cowboy Bebop is top to bottom, filled with American culture. The creator is a massive Westaboo. It's funny, we have Weeb over here. Westaboo is what they call Japanese creators that love the Western stuff, like American stuff. Well,
that's kind of nice to hear, right?
Yeah, because like I said, I told you, Streets of Fire. That American movie that bombed the musical, like the Diane Lane and William Dafoe's the villain, that was a big hit in Japan. They got obsessed with that.
Yeah, I mean, I do this. I do the same thing when I talk to Matthew Flynn or Matt from Bud Boy Entertainment. They're both in England, and I tell them what a big Anglophile I am, and they're both obviously. Fans of a lot of American pop culture, and actually, I think Matt from Bud Boy Entertainment, whose content you should be following, by the way, he's a fan of more than just our pop culture in the United States. He's moving here for a girl.
Hey, what better reason to move somewhere, right? Think about it. I have to tell you that Three Musketeers remake, I liked one of the older Musketeers. Who was the youngest one that joins the group? The fourth Musketeer
D'Artagnan?
Comes on later. D'Artagnan, and he's like saying, the one guy saying, king and country, whatever. A good woman at your side is what you fight for. He made some comment like that. And I was like, he's right. I mean, come on, that I liked. Coyote Ragtime Show was a good tribute to Cowboy Bebop. I may watch it when Netflix Bebop drops. I think I own Coyote Ragtime. I've never gotten around to watching it, so maybe I'll look into that. And I don't know. Like I said, we should have done when we were doing Culture Fortress. We should have done Cowboy Bebop before they Netflix got their hands on it. But
I agree.
I know some people argue you still have the old show. Anyway, let's move on to other crap. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll be fine. Sci-fi. This is more stupid than offensive, if that makes any sense. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Let me see. I don't know. BloodyDisgusting.com TV. Okay, yeah. This is a Sci-Fi Channel. I was thinking we should do a good
I'm a little worried about that right there.
The Sci-Fi Channel. Sci-Fi Channel's perfect. Actually, Sci-Fi Channel would put things out that I kind of liked. Remember that one, the Wonderland series they did?
Tin Man.
Tin Man. That was interesting. I kind of liked that. Did you see that?
I did. I have it on DVD. It's excellent.
Yeah, I like that, actually. I mean, it was a take on Wizard of Oz. And they
Zooey Deschanel plays the Dorothy character.
That's right. And they did it as a science fiction series, but I liked it. I actually thought it was interesting how it was like a science fiction take on Wizard of Oz.
I'd almost say it was a sci-fi fantasy, you know?
Yeah, but there were science fiction elements in it too, right? I mean, it was not just like they called it the Outer Zone instead of Oz, right? You know, and I thought, okay, you know, I don't know. Anyway,
but it also had as the eponymous Tin Man, Neil McDonough, who
Love
I
him.
really, really like. And I just saw an interview with him very recently about how there's a lot of roles he won't take because he does not like doing certain things that Hollywood wants to push him into.
Ridiculous.
Like, because he's a married man and a Christian. And
he's one of our great actors. I don't know why. Now we know why. You know, you just explained it.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, but no, I do like seeing him and stuff. Okay, sci-fi series based on George Romero's Day of the Dead gets October premiere date. You excited?
I had no idea this was happening until you sent me this article.
Neither did I.
And then when I saw it, I was like, I don't know how to feel. My first thought was, oh no. And then I started to think about it. I'm like, well, maybe. And then I saw it was sci-fi and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, but that's about right. I don't go into things wanting to hate them. And to be fair, I'm not even saying this is necessarily bad because it's woke. Like I said, I think sometimes the woke stuff is used as a screen to shield people from stuff they've created that's just bad. But we included this and this and this in it. So that makes it good because I clicked off the progressive checklist and you can't attack my work. Yeah, okay. But I'm going to say this Day of the Dead, this is remake number 3.
Yes, it is.
This is ridiculous. I didn't see the first remake. I know they were acting like it was by the producers that did the Dawn of the Dead remake, the one that Zack Snyder did. And I think they were trying to sell it like, oh, this is going to be like of that caliber. Whether or not you like the movie, it was a big Hollywood hit. And I heard it was terrible. I think there was even a vegan or a vegetarian zombie in it, which makes no sense to me whatsoever.
I didn't see it. But one thing that I will say, though, is for all the grief that we give to remakes and reboots and so forth.
Yeah.
This Romero films, you know, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, which are two, you know, diverging zombie film series, have a really weird and unique history with sequels, reboots, remakes, very different from most of our other favored genres.
Oh, yeah.
And that's partly because of rights issues and, you know, the original Night of the Living Dead falling into public domain. Therefore, sequels that are made to it can be done because whatever. I mean, it's very, very strange. In fact, the first remake of Night of the Living Dead, which I liked, I felt they made a couple decisions that I thought were dumb, but they made some that were really good. Patricia Tallman playing Barbara.
You like that, yeah.
I thought she was great. That was a good change. And although I very much liked Tony Todd as the lead role,
yeah,
I think changing his death scene kind of hurts the original intent of that. But anyway,
I look at it as this is a what if story. Okay. With
well,
the remake of The Night of the Living Dead, and I'll explain it.
To put a finer point on it, though, what I was getting at with this, the reason that they remade Night of the Living Dead was because Night of the Living Dead had fallen into public domain, and Romero couldn't make money off of it anymore.
It was ridiculous. Yeah,
he literally remade the movie just so he could, you know, still claim some ownership to his own property, and. But I've seen infographics. I have infographics saved to my hard drive, even trying to keep track of this, because you could have one movie that actually is connected to 3 completely incompatible movie series with these zombie movies. I kid you not. The remake of this, works with this, but this is a sequel to that, and this movie has 3 different sequels that are in completely different universes, and this one, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like the smoking guy with the strings, you know, a conspiracy theory meme. It's like that. So when I saw this, I'm like, okay, what's this about then?
Okay, so and then they, I have so much. Trust me, I can go on and on about the Living Dead remake, which I actually do like myself. But I will say that in that remake, when Ben and Mr. Cooper meet, and Ben's like, "I haven't known you very much, but I can already tell I don't like you." He makes a statement like that, and you know that on some level they remember the other movie. It's almost like those episodes of Star Trek where the day repeats. Yeah. I'm getting a vibe from that, like they sort of have a gut thing that this has all happened before. Anyway, let's move on, though. Okay.
But what I did want to say too about this one other thing.
Yeah.
Another TV series about zombies, a zombie apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
We already had this with Night of the Living Dead, or not? What's
Walking
that?
Dead.
Walking Dead. Yeah, The Walking Dead.
We had where Walking Dead. Go ahead.
That was literally a zombie TV show. That show continued on after it should have been dead a long, long time ago.
I make a point with The Walking Dead when I start identifying with the villain on the series instead of our quote-unquote heroes. There's a problem.
Well, the biggest problem I've already
I stuck with it through the Negan stuff.
I already said that once we got to the Negan thing and they did the switcheroo with Glenn, you know, when Glenn gets killed off early, and then they bring him back just to kill him the way they did in the comics, I'm like, that's it, I'm out. Plus, they gave us a twofer. They killed off another beloved character in that same episode just for the F's of it, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done. I said to Nanette, honestly, I'm not enjoying this anymore. It's like torture porn, and I get nothing out of it. She says, well, I've only been watching it because I thought you liked it. I'm like, we're done, and I turned off the TV, and we never watched another episode.
I think I ceased watching it a couple seasons ago. I did stick through the Negan War.
The biggest problem, though, that I didn't even know about was after I stopped watching, major continuity shift. Because it used to be that, you know, these zombies or whatever, they could bleed on you, they could bleed into your eyes, you could accidentally swallow some gore or whatever, you're fine. Which is a divergence from the comics where Negan had the barbed wire bat. He would rub the barbed wire into the skin of a zombie and then beat you with it so that even if you survived, you were going to turn into a zombie. So it was a bloodborne pathogen. They changed that in Walking Dead until they didn't. And then they brought it back with Negan. It's like, wait, you already established this isn't how it works. Now this is how it works again?
Well, like I said, there's something known as jumping the shark. It happens to TV shows.
It absolutely did. So that's another concern I would have about any other zombie ongoing TV series.
So here's what we go. And then there was, I didn't want to mention the point. The second remake was Day of the Dead Bloodline, which is almost worth watching as a lark because it's terrible. I
have it on DVD because that's why I have this.
You have it on DVD?
Yes.
Oh,
this is why I have the infographic, because I specifically decided I wanted to try to collect all of these related Romero-verse, films.
I
and it's
suspect
like,
this thing.
I couldn't even figure out how to put them all into box sets. I'm like, does this go into this box set or does it go into this box set?
I suspect this thing was shot in Eastern Europe, and you have a lot of Eastern Europeans playing Americans doing American accents that aren't quite right. They sort of right.
That does sound like it'd be fun to watch.
It's almost a ride as a very bad movie, but anyway, okay. They're coming for you. Here's the article. October 15th is a huge day for horror with Halloween Kills and Venom Let There Be Carnage. That's not a horror movie. Okay, arriving in theaters. And the brand new I Know What You Did Last Summer series coming to Amazon. We'll see. I don't know. Well, that'll be next week's article. I'm sorry. And that's not all. As we've learned today, of that Sci-Fi's Day of the Dead series based on George A. Romero's zombie classic will also premiere October 15th. Check out a brand new piece of poster art below, which you can't see. Okay. 10 episodes of Day of the Dead are headed to Sci-Fi October and beyond, with Steven Kostanski, The Void, Leprechaun Returns, Psycho Gorman directing the first 4 of those episodes. If this is who I think it is, if he's involved with the people, those Astron 6 people, that's not a bad sign, because I did like his stuff. I don't know if he's, because I know Psycho Gorman, some of the same actors. I wonder if he's related to the Astron 6 people. You may not know who they are. They were like a Canadian version of Troma. I think they even worked with Troma. They made their own low budget B horror pictures that were actually quite funny. But I have Psycho Gorman on Blu-ray. I've been meaning to watch it, so I don't know. That might maybe. I mean, if this is who I think it is, maybe there's hope for this show.
Honestly, this is the kind of thing where I told you I collected all of these on DVD. So if I got all these horrible films on DVD, I'm at least going to check this out. You know, even if it's bad, I might.
We'll see. I have to say though,
completist.
It looks like a comedy series, doesn't it?
Well, it should, because those the ones in the Day of the Dead really did start to go into that almost Bruce Campbell-esque kind of humor.
But didn't they have Z Nation on the Sci-Fi Channel? And wasn't that also kind of a zombie comedy series? I only saw the first season of it. I really liked the first season. I don't know how the subsequent seasons were, but I liked the first season. I argued it was in some ways a better zombie series than Walking Dead, because at least it had a little bit of it. It still did the zombie stuff, but it still had those moments of brief comedy in it, which, to be fair, even Romero did in the.
I'm just concerned that I am not sold on the idea of a zombie series working. I feel like it didn't work. It didn't work with Walking Dead. No. I don't see it working. I think zombie films work better as standalone films. You can have a series of films, okay, that may be in continuity with each other.
Like, yeah.
As long as you have, a different theme for each one. Maybe
which
even
Romero
different
did
characters.
with his original movies.
I would argue that there is. I've actually been on kind of a bit of a zombie kick lately,
right?
Watching a bunch of films that have been out for a while and I didn't even know about. And honestly, sometimes I'll watch a movie and go, "Hey, that would totally fit into this Romero series," or "This would totally fit in with Shaun of the Dead."
Right,
Shaun of the Dead would work very well with a movie called Fido. Did you see that one?
I haven't. I mean to watch that. That's about a guy who keeps his zombie as a pet, right?
Well, like everybody, it takes place in like a 50s era type thing. So I guess you're supposed to assume that the original Romero zombie apocalypse really happens in this world, and communities are like gated off. And within those communities, it's all like, Leave It to Beaver. But they have zombies as servants because some company has come up with collars that keep them from killing, others.
Yeah.
It becomes very, very silly and whatnot. And in a lot of ways, in the kind of ways that Shaun of the Dead did. The other one we're going to be rewatching on Netter's Network on Saturday, Anna and the Apocalypse.
Anna and the Apocalypse. I like that title.
It's a zombie musical.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And believe me, I had my doubts too, but it works.
All right. Anna and the Apocalypse. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I just want to make a point. I'm going to wrap this up now. George Romero's 1985 classic was followed by unofficial prequel in 2005. I've never heard of that, as well as 2 different remakes in 2008, 2018, none of which were able to hold a candle to Romero's masterful work. Needless to say, there's a pretty low bar in place for things. Day of the Dead at this point, here's hoping Kostansky and the team raise the bar. I did not like the trailer. Yeah. It was a little too self-referential, that kind of humor, was old 20 years ago. Can we get rid of it now, please? Okay, anyway, but we'll see how it turns out, okay? Like I said, if he's worked on Astron 6 stuff, maybe. I mean, to be fair, though, I don't know. Let's move on. Cult Sci-Fi, Blake 7 coming to BritBox. It's already on BritBox. This is why I posted the article. I'm on BritBox the other day, and I see Blake 7, and I'm thinking either they've remade this series and I didn't know about it, or this is the original series. So for fans
like it's the original.
it is for fans of the British science fiction. There are a few names that always pop up. Doctor Who naturally stands head and shoulders above everything else. Other favorites like Sapphire and Steel, The Prisoner, shows of Jerry Anderson pop up as well. But for a certain age of fan, the cream of the crop is Blake 7. The show was BBC's direct attempt to capitalize on the success of Star Wars. Blake 7 ran for 4 seasons from 1978 to 1981 and has been pretty hard to find in North America lately. Yep. That is until now. The entire series will debut on BritBox beginning August 13th. And you were mentioning, you mentioned this on Mr. Matchstick's Cultural Fortress.
Back on Mr. Matchstick's Cultural Fortress, I did a whole segment on Blake 7, and the thing is, it was only available here in the U.S., like Doctor Who was for the longest time on PBS. And if you wanted it on home media, it was available briefly in a VHS format. Never got a DVD release here in the United States.
Nope.
So I've literally been having to do the whole download episodes off of line and make my own DVDs because always own physical media so they can never take it away from you.
Keep your fingers crossed, though, because if it's on BritBox, there's always a possibility it could get a physical release.
That's what
usually
I'm
the
hoping,
first step.
Yeah.
That's the first step these days. They'll put it on streaming.
And there's been a long call for it. And I know that you and some other people have talked about, well, these days, most of the newer DVDs you can watch, British, and I didn't know that was even possible because I thought there was also the difference between PAL and NTSC or whatever, and
here's the thing,
not just the Region 1, Region 2 thing.
Here's the thing with Blu-ray, okay? Blu-ray, at this point, there is no PAL and NTSC, I think, with HD signals and HD television, that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that there's still region coding on certain DVDs. For instance, you can get a DVD from Europe that will play perfectly on your American player. You can get another one that's region coded and won't work. Same goes for Europeans trying to buy our DVDs over here in the United States, or our Blu-rays. Blu-rays, not DVDs. Okay, Blu-rays are still region coded, and sometimes Blu-ray DVDs aren't region coded either. I'm getting confused because sometimes you can.
Well,
blah 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 blah.
What I can tell you about region coding, and I'm going to tell everybody in the stream this. If you want specifics, send me a DM or send me a message offline and I'll help you out with this. If you have a DVD and it's region encoded for a country that doesn't play on your player, you're in the UK and you get one from the US or vice versa, all you got to do is make a copy of it. When you make a copy of it, you get to choose if you keep the encoding or if you make it region free, 0. And if you know how to make backups of your DVDs, that's all you got to do. If you need some help with that, let me know. Because making a copy for personal use, that's perfectly legal under the copyright law.
And I do want to give a disclaimer now, though. While in the past it was pretty bad with the stuff, these days, if something is region exclusive over in Europe, it's usually not long before some version of it comes over here. Okay,
usually
they're not as bad as like they used to be. So you could also wait. Even Arrow released. It's funny because Arrow released a version of Rabid, David Cronenberg movie over in Europe. We didn't get that DVD, unfortunately, but then Shout Factory, Scream Factory released their own DVD of it, Blu-ray of it. So, you may not get the Arrow release, but another company will put out their own special edition. And sometimes they'll have different special features than the European version. I know that one of the worst culprits for a long time was Creepshow. Creepshow got an excellent DVD release in Europe, and we got junk because Warner Brothers didn't care. Eventually, Shout Factory, I hear, put out a very good edition of it that you can now purchase over here, or if you want to do the.
I'll tell you, the more you talk about this Shout Factory group, the more I like these guys.
Well, no, to be fair, there's some people that don't like Shout Factory either. Like people were screaming about Space 1999 re-release, saying that their 5.1 track on it wasn't as good as the European 5.1 track on it. But I look at it as they still included the original mono track, so I just listened to that. So,
I was going to say, it sounds like at least they're trying, where
they're not
some
bad.
Of the big studios aren't.
Arrow tends to be the cream of the crop for a lot of these cult movies, and they do now have U.S. distribution, so they do bring out a lot of their movies that other companies over here don't have. And there are other places that, if you're a horror buff, like Severin and Synapse, they put out great stuff too. So.
But I think that Blake 7 is And see, this is the funny thing too. You know, I'll talk with friends overseas, and I'm. It's not just that we're separated by an ocean. It's getting to the point where we might be separated by a generation or two, because I'm talking to these younger guys like Matthew Flynn. Oh yeah, Blake Seven. My dad used to watch that. He has no idea what it's about. You know, well, a vague.
Well, for all I know, they haven't had it over there either. Okay.
Well, it was as big over there as
I meant the younger generation. You know, maybe they
yeah
to it either. Yeah. Okay.
Blake Seven was as big over in the UK as Star Trek was here at the time that they showed. Okay, but Star Trek went on to have another series and then do movies and all that kind of stuff. Blake Seven didn't. It had the four seasons, and that was it. There was a couple of books, there was a couple of audios, but by and large, there wasn't a lot more after that. But I'll tell you something. I think it will really resonate with people today if they revisit it. That very dystopian future is surprisingly and shockingly similar to what I see us developing into right now.
I was going to make a joke because I watched the first episode and I was saying, is this a dystopian future on Earth, or is this Australia now? Okay, because they're like, you have all these people walking around, they're like in drug-induced states, and people want to go outside. They're not allowed outside the building. It's like, what is this? Are they underground or like in these? Like I said, I'm new to this. Okay, but this looks like
it's true. They're in a domed city, and
this looks like something out of 1984. This is a horrible place to be living in.
It absolutely is, and a very dictatorial government. And this freedom fighter has had his memory erased and rewritten, and he's being reached out to by his former allies trying to get him back in, and he's like, no, that's not me, that's not what I've done.
I'm loyal to the state, basically, right? That's
right. And then he witnesses them all just get massacred, and he's like, oh, this isn't good, you know. And they realize, well, we can't just kill Blake because that'll set him up as a martyr, so we got to discredit him. So they trump up all these charges that he likes to spend time with children in inappropriate ways, and they literally reprogram the children to believe this happened. So they implant these memories into the kids.
So the testimony would ring true.
And there is no jury, and the judge is literally a computer who weighs the information that was given to him, is not able to doubt it or suspect fraud or anything, just takes it at face value, guilty, no chance of appeal. It's like, yeah, that's kind of how things are starting to get now. We have decided that this is the science, this is the reality, and you are not allowed to disagree, and guilty.
It's eerily prescient. I'm wondering what's going to happen as the show goes on. I've only watched the first episode. Looks like he was being sent to a prison colony with a bunch of other prisoners. Okay.
I without giving you any spoilers, I will let you know that it runs for 4 seasons. It was only ever meant to run for 4 seasons, and it caps off with an ending. Okay. They kind of jury rigged a follow-up audio book. Or audio story, but just take it for the four seasons, and that's it.
And I just want to point out, though, this was created by Terry Nation, the man who created the Daleks. He's been involved with a lot of stuff in British science fiction.
And like so many other shows, there are great episodes, and there are some that are kind of dumb.
Well, most great TV shows have bad episodes. I love Batman, the animated series, but there were some turkeys in that show as well. Okay, but as long as the overall show and as long as the characters stay true. Last article tonight. We got to start wrapping this up anyway, but this is actually important. This is Gina Carano in the news again. Gina Carano says anger due to lack of leadership is painful and justified. She was tweeting this out recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a bad.
I
week
really
this
respect
week.
this girl. She's a sharp one.
We lost some heroes over in Afghanistan recently. So, 13 was it 13 Marines? I
Yeah.
believe was the total. Yeah, just terrible.
And we don't know how many civilians.
A lot of civilians too, and it's a
I
big disaster.
I think we're going to start getting those videotapes coming out of Afghanistan. It's going to happen. I guarantee it.
Oh boy. Okay. I think we're in for a rough rest of the year. But Gina Carano, who recently played Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, recently claimed the anger due to lack of leadership in the United States of America is painful and justified. The actress, who is now also working on a new movie based on Eric Red's White Knuckle, Bluger Highway novel, first expressed that she was heavy in heart as she learned about the recent terrorist attack at the airport in Kabul that claimed the lives of at least 13 U.S. service members, according to media outlets. Yeah, both men and women, very young too. It's a shame. Gina Carano, who recently played Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, recently claimed the anger due to lack of leadership in the United States is painful and justified. I'm glad she's speaking out, and and the article goes on to say other things too, what's going on over there. And Carano wrote on Twitter, heavy in the heart, thinking of the lives lost of our beloved U.S. military men and Afghan lives. I pray deeply for our troops still on the ground and for the innocent lives being left in this chaos. The anger due to the lack of leadership in our country is painful and justified. Yeah. Kind of a sad note, actually, but I'm glad she's speaking out. And frankly, if we ever see a cultural tide turn, she'll be at the head of it too. Okay, so, but I know that's not why she's doing it. I'm just saying.
No, and ever since the one that came out that everyone points to as being why she supposedly lost her job over at Disney, and everyone looks around and goes, "She was right. I see it more and more every day."
Yep.
And she's absolutely right on this one too.
Give it time. Like I said, you never know. We may see Cara Dune again. Okay. And I do believe that was a big evidence of this whole Civil War
and
thing.
And even if we don't see Cara Dune again, we're definitely going to see more of Gina. I've heard what they were saying about, her, the film that she's going to be doing on the, what's that channel with Ben Shapiro's channel,
Daily Wire, right?
The Daily Wire, yeah. Yes.
When
I heard what it was going to be, I'm like, you know what? That's exactly her brand. If you've seen any of her movies, that's her kind of thing. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Rise of Talk says Gina had a sexy photo show with Evie magazine too. What? That's bad. That's inappropriate.
Oh, dude! I just remember the picture that she tweeted out that one time. Jay over at Drunk 3PO was saying he was joking with her about it and said, "Yeah, that's my desktop on my phone."
Oh, right, gotcha. But like I said, I do want to see more of her, and I want to see more people probably.
Well, that's what we're saying. You can see more of her in these pictures we're talking about. Oh, that's not what you mean. Okay.
Anyway, though, but yeah, and we've had a bad week in this country. Like I said, I was not in a good mood coming into the show. I'm a little better now. Blake 7, though, maybe a show of the past, maybe a show for our times.
I am really eager to, because I love sharing shows like that with people. First time they're seeing it, I can kind of, remember how much I enjoyed it. You want someone to talk to about it, tell me what you think about it. I'll tell you what, my favorite, it's funny because the show is called Blake 7, but my favorite character is Avon. He really steals the show in my opinion. And he's
just answer one question for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Will they at least take out some of these Terran bastards? Okay, that's what I want to say. Okay, these government officials, or at least some of them get killed by them. Please, I want blood.
Do you want to know if there's going to be a happy ending or not?
I don't want to know if there's going to be a happy ending because I think you already. I'm not going to say anything. Okay.
Yeah.
But is there at least?
I've already spoiled it for you.
Is there at least going to be some retribution at some point in the show for what's been going on? Oh, never mind.
There's two main villains. I mean, there's a lot of people that just get dead, and there's a lot
That's
of
fine.
like,
well, those nameless, those faceless soldiers.
well, no, even they even have some what would be bigger name characters, but they're only in it the one time, and they end up by the end of the episode dead.
Right.
But I would say the two main villains that end up coming out of it are the Federation president Servalan and her primary henchman, which is Tarrant. I think Tarrant gets killed. Or Travis, I think. I think Travis gets killed. Don't be
specific. I'm just saying.
And I don't remember what happens to Servalan. I don't think she gets killed, but she I think she loses her position in no confidence or something. I don't remember. It's actually been a long time, but it doesn't really matter because the Federation is an entity in and of itself, kind of like 1984. So
yeah, that was a terrifying book. I read that in high school. Okay, but
everyone did. They were supposed to see it as a cautionary tale, not a how-to.
I know. Well, and that. So, anyways, we had a good stream tonight. I think. What do you think? I don't know. Okay, but
I enjoyed it.
What do you got going on this week?
This week I'm going to try to get up the videos that I've been talking about for the past 2 weeks. Yeah, I did get up one action figure video that's on my channel last week. Did an unboxing of some stuff I got from overseas, Tungori, Gina Carano figure, an Imperial Guard, and I showed the Fives figure that I got for Nanette. I've got another one, some custom items that I got from Trash Compactor Custom Figures. I've done a video about the holiday figures, the Star Wars holiday special figures last year. I've got some more goodies from them that I'll talk about. And a couple other action figure videos that I'd like to get up if I can get them filmed. Friday, of course, I will be, my show starts at 9 Central Time, but, and of course, I'm hoping you're going to be there as my designated driver again.
I'll be there Friday.
Yeah. I need someone to help me finish the show when I'm too blotto to know what the hell I'm doing.
But Bud Boy's going to be on there, right?
But yeah, Matt from Bud Boys Entertainment is going to be joining us because I tuned into his Saturday morning stream, and he's like, yeah, since Paulie's channel, and I want to mention that real quick before we end too. Since Paulie's channel's been down, I haven't had anything to do on Friday, and I'm like, you could have come by my channel on Friday. He's like, you're right, I could have. How about next week? I said, you got it. That's what I'm doing this week then. So I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but it'll be the three of us then.
He missed the Roadhouse rewatch. Oh well.
Yeah, right. No, I'm really upset because a lot of YouTubers have been the monetized guys, the bigger guys, have been getting hit with these copyright strikes and what do they call them? Claims, the YouTube whatever. Community guidelines claims or whatever, and well, this is what happened to Paulie, and his channel's been taken down. It's up there, you can see his old videos, but he can't stream, he can't put up new videos, and it's a bunch of BS. And people have come out from all over the Comicsgate community and the Midnight's Edge guys. Doomcock tweeted out this to YouTube about it and saying, look, this is wrong and it's got to stop. Oh, Auditor Dread, thank you so much. You like those? Yep. Those? Yeah, that's what I was saying. You were one. There have been a couple others who said they were kind of interested in the talk I was doing on the toys. So, I'm getting them anyway. I may as well justify by saying I'm going to turn it into video content for YouTube. But
yeah, now this week I'll be on with Daniel Heron on Wednesday. I believe he's going to try to get Mr. Matchstick on as well. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. We're going to be doing the original Transformers animated movie. Okay, so the one from the 80s. And I think, are you going to be on Mr. Matchstick as well this week? Or are you still doing the Air Force One stream on Tuesday? Or
yes, I am going to be doing the Air Force One stream on Tuesday. I was really surprised when he asked me about that. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I haven't seen that in years.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess we'll be doing he'll be doing 2 streams this week. So cool. Okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, Saturday, the rewatch I told you about earlier over on Netters Network, Anna and the Apocalypse.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun, actually. So I've never seen that movie, though, so I got to see if I can hunt
Neither
that
has Al. He's going in cold. So I said,
Okay.
I think you're going to enjoy it. I really
All
do.
right.
But,
Cool beans. And I did make you promise while you were a little tipsy on the stream and I told you I would
This
do
is why you're telling me to listen to the stream again.
I said when you were going to have to watch a horror movie of my choosing, and we're going to do a rewatch of it because this stream falls on October 31st, unless you have special Halloween plans that day. But if
what
you don't,
day of the week is that?
it's going to be on a Sunday.
Okay.
Halloween is on a Sunday this year, and I figured we could do, instead of just doing the news, we'll do a rewatch that night, unless you have other plans.
And which did we agree on a movie?
I didn't agree on the movie. I haven't figured out what that's going to be yet. I'm going to hunt.
Okay.
I'll let you know in October. I'll try to give you time to watch it ahead of time. I'll see if it's available on streaming. If you have like a stream, I'll see what services you have.
I mean, depending on what you're planning, there's a very high possibility that I have it on DVD.
Possibly. Okay, but like I said, we'll get to it on. I'll let you know come October. Okay.
Okay.
Just see what other channels are doing.
Yeah, no, I'm all up for that.
I don't want to copy what they're doing.
Stone Cold Sober, I'll commit to that. Sure.
Okay, I was about to say I wasn't sure. I'll be a little kind. Well, we'll see.
I mean, even if it's something really crappy. I mean, sometimes the worst horror. We could watch Ouija Shark.
We're not doing Ouija Shark.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
I don't really want to watch that
I've
again.
never seen it, so if I saw it, I might say we have to do this. Okay, but anyway.
No.
Right.
Netter just laughed too.
And this is a Netter's channel too. Go ahead and check that out. All right. But,
yeah, exactly.
It's the stream on Saturday. Okay, guys, I gotta head out. Got to get to bed. Got to work tomorrow. So, and so does Troy. So, but thank you for hanging out with us. And we ran a little over, but okay. Thank you guys. All right.
Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. Take care.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.